decide to invade Ukraine. But let's say for the fun, well, not for the
Okay, hold up, Sniper, I'm just gonna mute myself and mute you. Okay, hello everybody on YouTube. Oh, I'm sorry about the screen being blocked. I've just gotta mute Sniper and myself for a moment. I just wanted to let you guys know what the stream is about. So I have recently been made aware of somebody who is presenting themselves as a War Thunder YouTuber and streamer. Now, this person I won't name, and I won't I won't out them or dox them or anything like that. I'm gonna protect them 100%. However, they have been spreading misinformation, and I think a lot of people need to understand that just because somebody says or does something or pretends like they are an expert in something doesn't necessarily mean they are. And I just wanted to let you know that. And we are listening to his videos right now, or at least Sniper is, and he's giving me the information that the guy talks about, and then we're discussing it and how he is, or this person, I should say he, because that does assume his or all their gender. This person has discussed or said things or acted like an expert. Now he doesn't have, or they don't have a lot of. They don't have a lot of views or enough views for this person to actually cause the spread of misinformation. But much like any other thing, like a vine growing on a tree, for example, it starts off small and it could grow. So I'm just here making a video about it to let people know that just because somebody says they're an expert, even myself, I'm not an expert. I always say this in my videos, I'm not an expert. From what I understand, it's always from my perspective, and that is the same for this person. This person is speaking from their own perspective, and a lot of it is factually incorrect, and it's getting bad enough that I need to say something about it. Now this person, not a big YouTuber, neither am I. And it's not that I'm outing this person or trying to hurt this person or harm this person or harass or bully, cyberbullying, nothing online. Nothing harmful. I just want people who are on the internet to understand that there is a difference between somebody's opinion and whether or not somebody can or cannot be an expert in something. For example, I'm not an expert in War Thunder. I've been playing the game for 7 years. Now that should entitle me to be an expert by technicality, but I have not studied the game enough to be an expert. I've just played the game. Somebody who actively studies or participates in the studying of a game can become an expert in a game, or somebody who has played the game intensively enough for a certain amount of hours can be an expert. For example, I have 4,500 hours and I still wouldn't call myself an expert, and the person that is spreading misinformation has around 500 hours and is talking like he is an expert. He plays like he's an expert, but he's not, and I want people to be vastly aware of this. These are two separate things. Even I, with all the experience that I have in this game, am not an expert. So people need to understand that there is always a perspective to things, and that even experts in the field of study that they might be in will not always agree. So always make sure you do your own research and don't just take someone's word for it. And I feel like that should be something that is obvious and I shouldn't need to say, but at the same time, this person is talking out of I don't know where, getting information from I don't know where, and talking like an expert, which means clearly at least they believe they are, which means at least one person hasn't done their own research, isn't believing the people, or is believing people around them, which they shouldn't, which means all of you that could be watching can also do the same thing. So I just wanted to make a quick little discussion about this, but we will also be playing the game, War Thunder. We will be playing this game. I'm going to do a little bit of a stream on this because I just wanted to talk about some things about Twitch and all that. So that's just a little intro for you guys. We will be playing 10-3. I'm currently researching for the Tomcat, It's not a clickbait title. You can see it here. Here's the Tomcat, the F-14. I'm grinding for it right now. We haven't actually started grinding yet. It is late at night for me, so I will be trying to keep quiet. I'm gonna say as much loud stuff now as I can so that I can get it out now. So the first 10 minutes of the stream is a good bit of information. I just want to do that real quick. Okay, so I'm going to go back into the party now. I'm going to also check that the broadcast is working real quick. I just want to make sure that the broadcast is working. Okay, yes, my broadcast is working. I have just checked it. So I'm going to go back into the party and enable the party audio now. Hello there, I'm back. I just wanted to do a little bit of a discussion and intro as to what I'm currently doing, because it may not be...
Yeah. Went ahead done the video a little bit.
Yeah?
Gets worse.
Okay, it only gets worse. The misinformation gets worse. Okay.
Goes on about countries that are in NATO,
Right.
saying that I'll just like
Alright, so we're gonna get a little sample of it, aren't we? Right here.
Alright, so that's one thing. Don't fuck with NATO powers who are extremely strong, or just don't fuck with a country who even isn't strong. But let's get on to it. Let's say he gets troops and he set foot on Great Britain's land with hostile intentions of invading and keeping that country. Germany, Japan, Italy, France, Sweden, Israel, Argentina, I believe, Australia, Canada, Mexico, all these major countries who are part of NATO, Brazil, etc., like that.
Brazil's not a country.
Australia, America, South America, Canada,
Not all of South America.
USA in general.
The United States is just North America, and specifically the United States of America. Ireland and Wales is all part of the UK.
you know what makes it worse.
Argentina, I think, is a part of Alaska. Unless he means the country Argentina, which is
Definitely not allied.
definitely not.
Considering we had a wee bit of a scuffle with them in the 80s. And they've not really liked us since. Oh, he's just so dumb.
And he says Russia set foot on Great Britain, which is almost impossible. No force.
It is.
No force of land, specifically setting foot, would be able to get close to the United Kingdoms without being spotted, considering the United Kingdoms has a gigantic buffer of radar and sonar and all kinds of electronic warfare from all of its allies that extend all the way to fucking Poland, which is bordering Russia. So there is literally no way Russia could set foot on just Britain.
They couldn't
Because
even
if they go
through the
east,
Baltic because
or if they go north, or if they go west, to the east they have the Asian Pacific countries, and some of them are allied.
The entire American Pacific Fleet.
And then they have to cross all of that, go across America, come all the way around to Europe. As if they're not
through the
good.
Panama Canal because there's no, you're not allowed to go through the Panama Canal if you. Yeah. They would have to go there all the way through the North Atlantic. Or
This person is very bad at spreading misinformation, and that's what I just wanted to. That's why I did the intro too, so I don't need to say it again. But at the same time, I feel like it needs to be said again. Always do your own research. Don't believe somebody who claims they're an expert if they aren't an expert. And even experts don't always agree. So always do your own research. Make sure you're doing your own research at every single opportunity, because even experts don't agree with each other.
Here we go.
Oh, I'm taking the wrong plane. That doesn't matter.
Great Britain, what do you call it?
Part of UK, not Great Britain.
Stuff like that. They will get involved and help Britain out. And with all those countries combined,
I'm not sure Israel will.
Power, it would be unbeatable for Russia. Russia would just lose. Russia has already lost the Ukraine war.
It hasn't lost yet.
May be able to invade Ukraine, let's say, gets the whole of Ukraine. Maybe people are like, oh, he's won. No, he has not. He has destroyed years of trustworthy trading, years of trust built with NATO countries. He's destroyed their own currency, which is now worth less than 1 Robux for Roblox. Yes. 1 ruble, which is Russia's currency, is now less than 1 Robux from the game called Roblox. He's destroyed your economy, we stopped trading, he stopped getting fuel in. This is why on some videos...
They don't need to get fuel in because, hello, they have fuel.
If anything, fuel's not getting out.
Yeah, fuel's not getting out, making the money. Russia produces some of the most fuel in the world. But
most of Western Europe relies on it.
Yeah, they don't need fuel. They need to export it. They just have lots of fuel lying around for no reason. All of their fuel silos are probably full.
Yeah.
And they're just sitting there like, what do we do?
Suffering from success.
Well, yeah, because it's just costing them a lot. They've probably already would have shut down most of the operations already, or at least stalled them or stopped them.
Yeah.
But China's still buying their fuel, so...
China's not agreeing with them as such, but they're still...
Well, yeah, they're still operating in economy, but they don't agree with how Russia is doing the war. China's like... China is trying to make itself look better.
Impossible.
Because a lot of people have a really bad opinion for China, which is understandable.
Yeah.
But it's also a lot of the world's fault for how China is currently and what people are disagreeing with. So a lot of people are sitting there saying, China, you're not complying with the regulations to the carbon output, right? But China can turn around and say, you're the ones that wanted us to be like this. You will sit there and pay us dirt cheap money to produce things for you, which you will constantly use and abuse, and then you'll turn around and say, how dare we do what you are paying us to do? Because the rest of the world all buys stuff from China. This is a fact. If you want goods that are cheap and available, you go to China. Because they have massive factories. But it's not China's fault. China doesn't control their economy like Russia does. Right? This is a fact. They don't have as restrictive economy regulations. It's not an open market, mind you. It's not. But it's less restrictive. So when he talks about Russia not able to get fuel, absolutely incorrect. They can get fuel.
They're just not able to sell it.
They're just not able to sell it. So they're not able to bring in income. And as for NATO all jumping on the bandwagon to fight Russia, it's not like Russia doesn't have allies. Russia has a lot of allies.
Belarus is a big one. Although it could be
India is also an ally-ish to Russia. Ish. Although they are still a democratic nation, which is weird, but who knows. Nobody really understands India's intentions. India is turning into the new China though, and it's a bit of a problem. I say that in the sense that they are producing more goods than China at just as cheap, if not cheaper, costs. And it's causing a bit of a problem. Oh, please go for the right one. It is. Okay. So I don't know why this guy's talking out of his ass, and I don't know what people like. There are people that
halfway through the video, by the way.
I don't know why there are people. We're not. I thought it was almost over. God forbid, it keeps going. He keeps
It's
stuttering,
17
or they
minutes
keep
long.
stuttering too. I shouldn't assume their gender. That's why I'm trying to be gender neutral. But well, it's important because YouTube has guidelines, and I should. And for the most part, this video is mostly about an education towards people, and not so about an outing or trying to de-dox or dox this dude or whatever. Like I don't really participate that, and this isn't about online bullying or harassment either. And I'm not even going to share the YouTube channel and or links, and neither should you have it. So please don't. So I use your YouTube name because I'm streaming on YouTube. So you know, free advertising. It's very important that. Oh, and by the way, guys, you should check out Havoc's YouTube channel. He makes pretty good content.
There we go. There we go. That's what we've been waiting for. Been setting these Twitch streams for a year. I don't know, years, months, weeks, hours.
You always need to make sure that when you're listening to somebody on YouTube, that even me, like you can go back and look at my own videos. I, for the most part, don't necessarily like to talk about serious discussions. A lot of my videos are lighthearted fun, and a lot of people will watch. Almost 99% of the people watching my videos are unsubscribed, by the way. So if you are watching this video and you do end up watching it and you do like it, do check out my other videos, and do make sure you check and subscribe if you do enjoy them. No, I must say I don't upload regularly. So if you don't want to subscribe, you absolutely don't have to, because I don't upload regularly, and a lot of my YouTube videos are very sparse because I don't have an upload schedule, nor do I have a proper streaming schedule either. Today was really bad though, because I had to go to a hospital for my sister and everything, blah blah blah. Whole story behind that, but we won't share it right now, because this is obviously a discussion about misinformation and the spreading of. So this person was talking previously, we were listening to their video, they were talking about afterburners and such on aircraft, and I just wanted to fix one of the few things that they were saying, which was they were talking about how afterburners on aircraft, and depending on the engine size of the aircraft, use different fuel amounts, right? And how sometimes afterburners can produce less fuel output, right, or less fuel wastage, or less fuel usage. Specifically, he said fuel usage, right? The amount of fuel that an aircraft uses while afterburner is on is less, which isn't true. So, one thing we need to do, first of all, to discuss is the differences in jet engines. He says that smaller jet engines will use less fuel than larger engines, which is also incorrect. For example, this A10 has massive engines, absolutely giant, and yet they will use less fuel than this F5C, who has tiny engines. Two of them, but so does the A10. It has two gigantic engines, bigger than its own fuselage, in fact. They were so large that they had to put them outside of the aircraft. They sit on the external area of the aircraft, which is fine, because, again, these things are turbojets, so they don't necessarily have to be inside of the fuselage. In fact, most aircraft should have engines externally. It's just that if they're an aircraft that requires speed, this is frowned upon because of the drag. So that's why the A10 has it on the external, because it doesn't have to worry about speed. It's the same thing if you go back into World War II era. That's why bombers all have external engines and not mid-mounts, or for example, I don't know if I have, yes, PBY here. They're on the wings and not on the fuselage. Doesn't really matter, because again, they're not built for speed. It's the same thing for the B-18. They have these front forward, and the PBY, they have these front forward on the wings, or front forward on the wing sections, and that doesn't really matter because they're not built for speed, and the aerodynamic drag or the loss from the aircraft's speed isn't necessary, because the amount of lift or the generated lift is enough. Same thing for the A10. It's got massive wing surfaces, so the generated lift doesn't have to be fast. It just needs to be able to pull out enough air, or push enough air, sorry. which is a lift to drag ratio. If you know anything about aerodynamics, which this guy clearly has no fucking clue, then you would know that it doesn't actually matter what jet you're using in terms of fuel usage, but rather your lift to drag ratio and your weight to thrust ratio. Or it's also known as kilograms of force per ton, or kilograms of force per kilo. So the amount of generated thrust that your engine can generate versus the amount of the total aircraft's weight. Obviously, considering you wouldn't just take the engine's weight into account, but the whole aircraft's. So the biggest point that he was trying to say was that bigger jet engines use more fuel than the smaller engines, which isn't true. If you're comparing different types of engines, they're all going to vary in different shapes and sizes. For example, I think the example he used was the F4J and the... what was it? Using F4J and... what was the other aircraft he said?
I didn't say any others.
He just said the F4J? Right, yeah, you're right. He said the large engines on the F4J will use more fuel than the smaller engines on an afterburner, I believe. Which isn't necessarily true. You can see the max thrust generated by the traditional engines is 4,000. The afterburning thrust is 7,000. So the thrust to weight ratio isn't improved by a whole lot. But it is a lot at the same time. But the amount of fuel equivalent to generate that thrust is a lot, considering when it's on its non-afterburner. So that's not even true. This massive engine, when it's not in afterburner, still doesn't use a whole lot of fuel. But you got to remember that when you put afterburner, the diameter of the engine does matter. The diameter of the engine, not necessarily the length, but the diameter of the engine will matter. Because the amount of fuel required to fill the diameter to take up enough airspace within the... or to change the air within that exhaust to make it flammable is different depending on the diameter or the cubic air ratio in this case. So when we're talking about exhaust flames, in order to get an afterburner amount, you've got to get a certain amount of cubic air to fuel mixture. Got to be very specific. It's very, very specific, because you can't just dump a whole shit ton in and then light the igniter and be like, haha, afterburner. And that's how you create a bomb. And you can't have too little, because then you're just dumping fuel into an engine and it's not going to light because there's not enough air in the engine, or there's not enough fuel air ratio to actually ignite any kind of flame. But for example, I have this plane here with 35 minutes of fuel, right? This plane is a F5C. 35 minutes of fuel will last me on afterburner about, I'd say, maybe 15 minutes, a good 15 minutes on afterburner. So it uses almost double the fuel it has. Just over, yeah, just over, about 16 minutes. 15 to 16. Depends how long I keep the afterburner on, or whether I'm carrying a full payload or not. So obviously anything that you add to the aircraft will, and drag as well. There's a whole bunch of things that will change the amount of fuel ratio you're burning. So obviously as I'm on the ground here, that's using more fuel just to get off the ground. Once I'm in the air, there's less drag because my wheels aren't touching the ground, and therefore I'm not having friction or drag against the ground. But as I go into the air, and the faster I go, the more drag the aircraft will experience. But now it's not having two forces of friction applied to it, but only one, and there's a whole science behind it. But usually, for the most part, this thing will last around 15 to 16, sometimes 17 if I have a naked aircraft. That means if it's got nothing on it, absolutely nothing. If it's just no missiles, no bombs, about 17 to 18 minutes naked on afterburner fuel. Maybe even 20 if I really, like, if I just flew in a straight line high up at a high altitude and just flew in a straight line, it would be like 20 minutes. And these aren't specific, these are general, like, guidance, or I guess not specific and accurate, but rather to give you a general gist or an idea. Right? They're not specific in terms of like saying it's exactly this much. That's not true. These numbers are just to say this is the idea of how it will work. You'll get a general gist of it by imagining it like this. So, jink the missile. Ooh. So when we're talking about aircraft, afterburners dump fuel into the engine, a lot of it, and when we're talking about larger engines, they will use more fuel on their afterburners than smaller engines because of the diameter. However, that being said, that doesn't make the aircraft use less or more, because at the same time, while the diameter might be larger or smaller, the amount of air mixture is the same. The ratio for air mixture is the same depending on the size. So like if you obviously go really, really small, you might need to use less fuel to get a combustible air. It's a very complicated science. But for his particular example, he used the F4J and a smaller engine. So let's say we compare the F4J to my F5C. If the F4J had exactly 35 minutes of fuel and my F5C had, again, 35 minutes of fuel, and we were sitting on afterburner, our planes would run out of fuel at relatively the same time, because 35 minutes of fuel is used differently per aircraft, right? 35 minutes of fuel on my aircraft might be a full tank, right? Fuel tank amount. But 35 minutes on a F4J is probably only half the fuel tank, for example. Alright. And obviously, as the aircraft uses more fuel, it uses less to travel because it's reducing its weight as it uses it. So it needs less fuel to keep itself going. The problem with that is that if you're using afterburner, it still has the same ratio in order for fuel or the air exhaust to become combustible. It's still the same ratio, even if you have less fuel in the aircraft or not. So if you're off of afterburner, regardless of the size of the aircraft, you will still use less fuel than something that has an afterburner on, even if the engine that is using the afterburner is smaller than the one that is not using the afterburner. For example, as he said, the F4J, if it was off of afterburner, would still have less fuel consumption than the F5C, which has relatively smaller engines. Even if it has two of them, the F4J has two gigantic ones, right? Like, if the afterburner was off on the F4J, my F5C would run out of fuel well before it. Well before it. Because, at the end of the day, that is how jet engines work. Afterburners dump fuel into the engine, depending on the diameter, at a fuel-to-air mixture to create a flame out the back, which causes an additional propulsion, much like a rocket engine. Right? Exactly the same idea. It propels air or fluid out of the engine at a really high rate, and by burning it, it generates thrust. It's pretty simple science, and if you know anything about aeronautica or aerodynamics, then you would know all about this. This man has no knowledge of aeronautica or aerodynamics, because he says that, look out, you got a missile behind you, never mind, it's waved off for the flares. The only problem was that was a friendly missile, it was about to hit you. Good thing that enemy flared, because it went for the flares instead of you. So one other thing I would like to point out is he doesn't talk about the different types of jet engines, which is a bit of a problem for him because, as I said earlier, the different types of jet engines all use different types of propulsion and different types of fuel consumption. For example, a turbofan, which I mentioned earlier, is literally just an engine that spins a fan. It's no more different to the fan you have in your house, except the fan in your house uses an electric motor to spin a fan, whereas the turbofans use a turbo-propelled petrol engine to spin a fan. So it literally means a turbofan. It just spins a fan, a gigantic fan, then compresses the air, and out comes the hot air exhaust. It doesn't add fuel to the air, it just pushes air. There's no fuel going into, like the olden jet engines, like these old ones from the like from the 1950s and before. Yes, there were World War II era jets. They're kind of, not many people know about them, but yeah, a lot of countries were playing around or fiddling around with jets, except for America. America was actually the last countries to start using jet engines. Well, not the last, but like the last major one. Britain, Germany, and Japan, even China had, well, maybe not China, I wouldn't say China, correction, but Britain, Japan, and Germany all had jet engines before America did. Even the Russians had experimented with jet engines before them.
Russians have more rockets.
Yeah, I was about to say, but they used rocket engines more. However, they did have jet engines, like the, for example, Su-9 and the MiG-9s were jet engines. But before that, they would have rocket-propelled planes. And I don't know if there are any in the game that are in the traditional tech tree, but there most certainly were event vehicles.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't think there's one in the tech tree, unless maybe the Yak 15s, maybe.
Yeah, they're just Yak series of the jet engine on the bottom of them.
Yeah. So, yeah. And this is not a turbofan by technicality. I don't actually remember what these ones are called. These jets. The early jets weren't turbofans. They used a very complicated, but also kind of simplified version of a jet, which, although had an exhaust much like a car where it was air and fuel, it was not intentionally, or not actually, it wasn't intended for creating an afterburner or a type of additional thrust. It was just rather how it worked. Whereas the later versions, these turbofans, don't have an exhaust of fuel, although there is still a percentage of fuel that gets into the air, obviously, because you can't not have air or exhaust come out, considering if it's a petrol engine it needs an exhaust, obviously. But rather it doesn't dump any fuel into the air in order to actually spin the blade. It only intakes air, combines it with fuel, creates explosions in the actual jet to spin or to drive a blade. And now obviously those micro explosions, much like a traditional petrol engine, does have an exhaust and therefore will have exhaust. But back in the old days they also had petroleum or fuel going into the engine. They're just really strange old jets. They weren't necessarily turbofans that we know today, and they weren't not turbofans that we know today. They're like a really stupid, simplified, complicated jet. And it was the only kind that they could get, and they did a great job for what they had back then. But anyway, so obviously with a turbofan, its main output is just spinning a blade. That's all it does. It drives a blade in a circle, and what that blade does is it sucks in tons of air. Literal tons. We're not referring to like tons as an exaggeration or a description of a lot, but rather, metaphor. But rather literally. These turbofans, especially in the A10, can suck anywhere between 10 to 20 tons of air, depending on what throttle amount they put it on. Cubic tons of air is being pushed out the back end of this aircraft at all times during its operation. And you need that much air to propel an aircraft that weighs over 10 tons, obviously. So you might think that that sounds absolutely ridiculous, but it's not. And the thing is, for example, the A10 and the F4 will probably put out around the same amount of air. The difference is the speed at which the air is traveling. So, for example, in the F4 Phantoms, the air is traveling much faster, so a lot more air is coming in. So it is pushing out around 10 to 20 tons also. With the A10, the air is coming out a lot slower, but it's the same amount, which means that it is generating a large enough intake to suck in 10 to 20 tons without propelling it at a really high speed, and therefore isn't like burning a massive amount of fuel to make this happen. It is just, it's like if you take a ship, for example, fluid dynamics. We know the exact same thing works in fluid dynamics or hydrodynamics, in the sense that if you take a really large prop and spin it, even if it's not spinning as fast as a smaller prop, will generate the same amount of thrust because it's pulling a lot more water. For example, if you were to take a battleship and a cruiser, a light cruiser, they can travel at the same speed if the battleship has a propulsion large enough and spinning a decent enough speed to be able to propel itself in power to weight ratio, as long as it's similar to the cruiser, because it doesn't matter about the weight of the aircraft, or the aircraft and or ship, but rather its power to weight ratio, or its, in this case, thrust to weight ratio. In ships and aircraft, you would use thrust to weight ratios rather than power to weight ratios like you would on the ground, because on the ground you have grip and friction, which is what you're fighting against. And if you go on fast enough, eventually you end up fighting against the air as well. But the air density down low is very thick, but also it's very not thick because of how air works. When it's compressed during low altitudes, since it's being compressed against the ground and there's nothing like for the air to escape to, it ends up getting cushioned outwards in all directions. But higher up in altitude, you're unable to compress it against anything, and therefore you are causing what is known as aerodynamic drag. It's pretty simple. On the ground, there's no aerodynamic drag because you have the ground to push the air back up against you, or push it outwards. If you were in a tunnel, it's pushing you in every direction, even behind you. But the problem with that is aircraft can't be pushed from behind because they don't create a vacuum behind them large enough for it to push the aircraft. Unlike in cars, when there is, obviously, as I said, air being pushed in every direction, that also means that there's a vacuum created behind you because the car is being pulled or being pushed along the ground, but there will be a vacuum behind where the car is pushing all the air, which causes the air to fall inwards and then propel the car forwards. So the amount of aerodynamic drag, or in this case, ground air being pushed, is different to an aircraft. There's a whole bunch of fluid dynamics you've got to really go into full detail and study about it. I'm not an expert in this, but it's a general understanding that how power to weight or thrust to weight is specifically different. So when he's talking about the engines, I've realized I've gone on this rant for nearly 15 minutes, but it's very imperative. Like, it's very imperative that people understand the difference and not to take information from people who are not experts. I'm not even an expert in it, but I know enough. I know enough to be able to educate somebody on when somebody is blatantly incorrect. However, there is more to it than what I am saying, and a lot of details I am unaware of and not, or at least I am aware of but not fully in detail to, so I don't actually know the exact science behind it, but I know the general science behind it. Like saying, I know there is not air in space, but I don't know what is in space. You know, well, I know there's gases and dust and all that kind of stuff in space. We already know that. Antimatter, neutrons, those kinds of basic information, but I can't tell you how much or in what quantity or in what ratio or size or anything like that. Can't give you numbers. I can't crunch numbers because I don't have the numbers. And I can't do math very well. So, like, my whole point is that he is, or they are, spreading information that is false, and a lot of people need to actually make sure that when they're taking information from other parties, even if you're taking the information that I've said here, make sure you're fact-checking it and checking it yourself, because I might not be right. Same with the other dude. It's the same thing in the concepts of things like the Harrier, right? People will say that the Harrier is not a good aircraft because it doesn't use an afterburner, right? But that doesn't necessarily matter for the Harrier because, again, it's pulling anywhere near 8 to 12 tons of thrust because its entire fuselage is an engine. Now let me put that into perspective. The entirety of this aircraft's fuselage is holding an engine. And its nozzles don't come out the back here. They all come out these 4 different nozzles within the body. Now it's distributed evenly through a very complicated system. But the point is that the engine is the size of the fuselage. Now do keep in mind the Harrier is actually quite a small aircraft in comparison to other aircraft. If we look at the pilot, for example, we can see him quite clearly, and if we see the guns, we can see that they're quite large in respect to the aircraft. This is a good basis because the pilots and the guns, at least in the game, are always the same size. If it's a 30mm gun, it's generally going to be the same size. The barrel will vary depending on what kind of gun or what kind of accuracy they're looking for, and how the accuracy affects it. And I guess the speed at which they're trying to take the bullet at. But for the most part, the diameter and the size of the actual gun breech or the gun mantelet or whatever you want to call it will be identical. They'll be always the same, depending on what they take or put on the mantle itself. But the breech section is going to be identical because they're pushing the same size bullet. And now if we look at the Tomcat, for example, we can see there is 2 pilots in this, first of all, and they are tiny compared to the overall size of this aircraft. So if we were to cut the F-14 in half, the Harrier would probably be about the cockpit section in length. Just the whole aircraft of the Harrier would just be the cockpit section. We've cut it off at the wings, right along here. Just cut it right there. Cut it right across like this. And that'll be about the size of the Harrier, for example. Right? And that matters because the amount of overall drag and weight of this aircraft affects the engines. So the 12 tons of thrust that the Harrier produces is enormous compared to the size of the aircraft. The aircraft is tiny. For example, the F-14 probably pushes around 30 tons of thrust. But the aircraft is a lot bigger. And therefore the acceleration rates are different. That being said, though, obviously since the A-10 and the Harrier both use turbofans, they're not very fast because they don't push the air out at a high speed, and we've talked about the air density and how that works. So if a plane doesn't have a high air pressure or the air is not being thrusted out at a fast speed, then the plane probably isn't traveling all that fast either. It's just physics, you know. And for every action there is equivalent reaction. So if you're not pulling in a whole lot of air to push it back out at a high speed, then you're just pulling in a whole lot of air to thrust it out at a low speed, and therefore your aircraft will only travel at low speeds. It'll just do so very effectively because it has a whole bunch of thrust available to it. Meaning that, for example, even though you have 20 tons of thrust on, for example, the F4J and the A-10 can carry a lot more and weigh a lot more because it is shooting out those 20 tons of thrust at a slower speed. And the aircraft is much smaller and weighs probably, I wouldn't say the A-10 weighs less because although it's fucking heavy as shit, right? That's just kind of how it works. The Phantoms are massive as well, and in terms of relative volume, I'd imagine that the Phantoms are probably bigger in terms of overall surface area, but the A-10s will weigh more because they use heavier materials on the A-10. But that's like kind of my whole point, right? Like the faster you're going, the more drag you're getting, and there's a certain thrust to weight ratio and thrust to drag ratio that affects the aircraft, and therefore the A-10 is traveling always quite slowly. However, it can travel quite slowly with a whole shit ton of stuff on it because of the amount of air that it pulls in. It's called torque, or air torque. It's very important. And that's why when you're talking about jet engines, you can't say that, for example, the F4J, when it's using its afterburner, can be more fuel efficient than, let's say, a space shuttle that has its afterburner on, with a gigantic 4 engines. Like, no, that's not necessarily true. Just because one engine is smaller than the other doesn't mean that it's less efficient, or just because, is more efficient. Because my F5C here with small engines probably uses around the same amount of air fuel or fuel air mixture as the F4, and ends up having around the same amount of fuel efficiency. Even though the engines on this F5 are piddly, they're tiny compared to the Phantoms. The Phantom is a lot bigger than this aircraft too. It has more aerodynamic drag, but it also thrusts the air out at a lot higher speed. The amount of air we're taking in is vastly different. This F5 has really tiny engines and produces a very small amount of thrust, but it also has afterburners, and therefore can push this air out at really, really high speeds. But again, since it's not taking in as much air as the Phantom, it experiences a lot less acceleration, and therefore requires more fuel to go at the same speed as a Phantom. And then that causes another problem, because the more fuel you have, the more weight you have, and the less power to weight ratio you can produce. So jets aren't as simple as saying one jet is faster than the other jet because it's bigger or smaller, or because it uses afterburner or not. Jets are very, very complicated engines, and depending on the type of jet, as I said earlier, between turbofan and petrol-driven or even electric-driven jet engines, they all use a different amount of fuel. They're all completely different. And their differences matter, especially to the fuel consumption. So for example, the Tomcat and the modern day F-22 Raptor will probably end up using vastly different amounts of fuel, despite the fact that the F-22 Raptor can supercruise. And that's the biggest thing. The F-22 Raptor can supercruise, and it will probably end up using less fuel than an F-4 Phantom trying to travel at Mach 1. Let's say both planes are flying along each other, the Phantom and the 22 Raptor. The Phantom has to use its afterburner to achieve supersonic and produces less thrust. However, it's producing that thrust at the same speed. Let's say, just for example, the same speed when it's using its afterburner as the F-22 when it's not using its afterburner. So although both planes are shooting out very near thrust ratios, one of them is not using its afterburner and one of them is. One that isn't using its afterburner doesn't have to dump fuel into the exhaust to ignite a flame, and therefore is using less fuel. So when we're talking about jet engines, it is incredibly important to know your stuff. And the reason why we're actually on this topic, for those of you who have just joined us, is because there was a YouTuber who I will not dox again. I've said this. I won't get myself in trouble, and I won't get them in trouble. They were talking about stuff that they weren't an expert in, acting as if they were. And the problem with that is it causes misinformation to spread. And again, although I am not a big YouTuber and they are not a big YouTuber, it doesn't start with big YouTubers. It doesn't need to. Misinformation can spread from the smallest of sources. It can spread from the smallest of sources as long as enough people believe in it. Right? It doesn't matter who spreads the source, who started it. It doesn't matter. Just if enough people get access to it, or believe in it, or repost it, make TikToks about it, whatever. That's how viralism works. It's the same thing for actual viruses. That's why we make the different, or that's why we have the same names. Viral and viral are the same thing, but they have two different meanings. One refers to when a video or a concept becomes very popular, and the other is referring to bacteria or viruses becoming more and more infectious, or becoming more and more common. You got a 5 coming in on you, you're good. There's 2 of them actually, still good. No missiles. You're dead. You're on fire. Missile, missile, missile. Not that it matters. Even if you pop flares, it's still gonna hit you like you're on fire.
It's just the afterburner.
There you go. Boom. There comes the missile. So yeah, I just wanted to make sure that people are double checking, fact checking, and always cross checking sources, because as I've said, even the experts don't agree with each other. So cross check, fact check, and always double check. Make sure you have 2 sources saying the same, 2 sources agreeing with each other, but they might not necessarily say the exact same thing. So always double check. Check 2 sources that agree with each other. Cross check, so check the sources that don't agree, and then always fact check, making sure that all the facts that they present are actually facts. This is why it's very important that when going through journalism, you're always cross-checking, double-checking, fact-checking. Just because someone says something doesn't mean they intend it as a fact, right? They could say it ambiguously and you take it as a fact. Like if I said, eggs are flat, I could be saying that as a joke, as a metaphor. I could be saying that as anything, and you could take it as a fact. But if you go out and find an egg, guess what you've just done? You fact-checked. You can look at an egg. Is this egg flat? No. Well done. You found out that I'm not telling a fact, but that doesn't mean I was lying, because I could be using it as a metaphor. And it's like the idea of fizzy drinks. This fizzy drink is flat. Well, no, it's not. It's used as a metaphor to say that it no longer has any more carbonation, which is vastly different to being literally flat. So always make sure you're fact-checking, double-checking, and cross-checking. Always see what the opposing side. Just because it doesn't agree with your opinion doesn't mean that they might not have a fact in there. They could be right about something. For example, when we first started using lead in engines, the car companies were all saying, scientists agree, lead is perfectly fine, and then people believed them. But they paid the scientists to say that. So always check the opposing side. Always check the opposing side. Because nowadays we know that even to date, the lead that was put into the air by the old petroleum is still affecting our health. 70 years later, it's still affecting our health. So, cross-check, fact-check, double-check. It's the 3 things you've got to do. Always check. That's the 3 different types of checking you've got to do. Cross-check, fact-check, double-check. Get 2 sources that agree, 1 source that disagrees, and always check that the facts are facts and not statements. Because somebody can state something, but it doesn't necessarily mean that they're saying it as a fact. They could be using it as a metaphor. So always check.
Maybe I'll run some 8.0 tanks toxic.
You want to do some 8.0 tanks? That's cool.
Yeah, got my Sheridan earlier and I want to sling heat cheat things.
Slam edgy. So now that I've gotten that out of the way, I'm going to have to start hush-hush talking, because again I said it's late at night. And I'd like not to annoy anybody in my house. And again, for anyone who's just joined us, this is just about a YouTuber who has decided to say things and has constantly said things that aren't true. It appears to me that they are aware maybe of some some kind of problem, and I don't know whether they have habitual lying or lying tendencies or anything that is, you know, dysfunctional when it comes to like disorders or anything that apply to behavioral patterns or anything like that that would deal with lying. Like, for example, people can have or be a pathological or psychological liar. I don't know whether he is or isn't. He might even believe what he is saying to be true. But it is always important that you fact check, double check, and cross check, because just because someone says something, and even if they act like an expert, that doesn't mean that they are, and even the experts don't agree. So, always do your own research. Whenever you take something as information to be believed, like even what I'm saying now, cross-check it, fact-check it, double-check it. I know that's kind of hard for something like YouTube, but you can always find somebody talking about these kinds of topics and stuff, so it's always important that you, I guess, obtain the most amount of information you feel comfortable gathering before agreeing to something. Like, even people with climate change, they disagreed for the first 100 years. Now it's like, oh yeah, it's real. Like, why was it ever believed that it wasn't real? That makes no sense. Why was climate change decided to be false at some point? Who started that trend? Why was it started? There's a whole bunch of questions raised there. And it's likely the oil companies or people who had a disadvantage or were disadvantaged by the idea of climate change. So always double check, fact check, and cross check, because the generations that came before us didn't do that and suffered because of it. And we also have to suffer because of their inability to decide or to fact check, cross check, and double check. Even governments fail to do it. The American government failed to do it when they decided to do their economy, and it was a massive downfall now, because they've realized, oh, hang on a minute, this is affecting our economy more than we thought. That's because you didn't cross-check, double-check, and fact-check. Because they had the data in front of them, but they didn't do enough research. They admitted to it. They didn't do enough research. They were told that it might. They knew there was a chance, but because they did not thoroughly investigate or thoroughly fact-check this chance, it came around and happened to be true. It came around to bite them because of it. So always making sure, always, regardless of what it is, always double-check, fact-check, and cross-check. Always check what the opposing side has to say. Just because you don't agree with them doesn't mean they're not right. Because then you're just embarrassing yourself. Like, so, now that that's very much over with, because I don't want to sit here talking about the same thing for 24 minutes, or half an hour, or goddamn however long I've been talking about it. Because I very much have problems of going on spiels and keeping things short. I will agree to that, and a lot of people might get bored of it. But it's very, I feel it is very important to discuss issues like that, because like if you're not making yourself fully aware, someone else has to step in to do it for you, which shouldn't be a thing. So nobody else should have to step in and say, have you done your appropriate research? No one else should be able to step in and say that, because like people who believe flat earth, they were so adamned to their flat earth beliefs, and I say beliefs because that's what they believed. There was no science to back it up. It was just a belief, that every time they tried to do all kinds of tests or any kind of thing to believe that flat earth is real and it's just flat and earth is flat, and even though they had evidence shoved in their face 25 times a week, they still believed that the earth was flat and decided to do their own tests, and their own tests proved them wrong. No test that the flat earthers have done has proved that the earth is flat. So that's why I say always cross-check, because you might find out that, hey, monkeys. Yes, Cody. Yes. Always cross-check. Always do as much research as possible. As much of your own research as possible. There's a tank just right over here, and I don't know what it is. I can hear it, but I don't see it. It's to my left somewhere.
Maybe friendly.
And maybe it could be friendly.
I'm currently capping to see any cap stuff because I don't have parts or FP yet. I'm just completely stumped.
Yeah, righto. I'm gonna try to go for Bravo. I might get shot in the ass here.
Bravo? You're a warrior?
I mean, as long as it doesn't hit the missiles, I think I'll be good. As long as it goes in one way and out the other without exploding and causing a complete catastrophic failure of the fuselage, then we'll be alright.
Why are you streaming on YouTube, Toxic?
The reason why I'm streaming on YouTube today is I want to see exactly the differences between streaming on YouTube and Twitch. Because when I'm streaming on Twitch, for the most part, I don't have ongoing or repetitive views. Although recently that has changed. But today I just wanted to try it. I wanted to test it out, see how it goes, and depending on if this stream does do well, then I think I'll switch to staying on YouTube. But if it doesn't do so well, I can always go back to Twitch, and I'll just continue to upload videos on YouTube. Twitch doesn't really care about it. I mean, it is better for the most part, but it also isn't. The platform itself is better, but the people who designed it, they don't really care about the people that are on it. So it is and it isn't.
Pretty sure it's better in terms of video quality and stuff for YouTube though.
Yes, you are right about that. How can you be so bad? How are you so bad? How? Bruh, how? I had that dude do circles around me and I still killed him.
Just be careful, there's something on Bravo.
Yeah, I know. There's also something just above me, again. Beg your pardon? The guy, well, yeah, he's only level 300, well, he's level 100, but he's only got like 300 hours in the game, but he's acting like he's an expert, and I have issues with that because, you know, anyone looking at it can say, oh, he's obviously not an expert. Now, let me take care of that. Oh, ammo rack. Anyone looking at his profile would sit there and say, well, he's obviously not an expert, but he's on YouTube and they can't see how many hours he has in the game. Beg your pardon? We're doing 8-0 at the moment. So we can definitively say that the dude obviously has no idea what he's talking about, but misinformation spreads through the acquisition of false knowledge, and it doesn't matter how big or small the false knowledge is, or the person, how many people they actually have access to, because it can still spread. So I just want to make sure that people are aware of this, and the person involved in the spreading of misinformation doesn't continue it. Now, obviously, I'm not doxing them or outing them or letting anybody know who the person is, for the obvious reasons of that is against terms and conditions of YouTube, and as well as I personally don't agree with it, because obviously that person doesn't either care or know that they are doing something wrong. And if you're just going to go out there to cause more harmful, like, there's no point fighting fire with fire if you're not going to, like, if you're not an expert in it, right? Firefighters will fight fire and fire because they know what the fuck they're doing. But a random person fighting fire with fire is just not a good idea. So in this particular case, as I'm not an expert, even though I can be called an expert in this game, I don't believe I am. Even though I have 4,000 hours in the game, I personally don't believe I've studied the game enough to be an expert in the game to say that, hey, I'm an expert. You should believe me, because I'm not. People are telling me new stuff about this game all the time. I'm learning constantly. And everything on War Thunder is always subject to change because it's a free-to-play game. Christ, I haven't used the Chieftain Marksman in so long. I'm really bad at it. without the radar, I'm really bad without the radar. If I use the radar, obviously it's just point in a direction and shoot. But I'm really bad at using free fire mode because, for obvious reasons, I haven't used it in a long time. The obvious reason being I haven't played 8.0. There we go. He's dead. Where's that other dude? Here he is. I think that's just the dying corpse of the ME-262, it is. There's the TAR... What is that double engine bomber? Is it the TAR 15? No, it's not 152. It's the Arada, there you go. Arada. Interesting, we're at 8.0, but they're all using 7.3 aircraft. Without any RWRs or...
Aircraft is a bit horrible.
German 8.0 is terrible. I mean, it's kind of unfair, but considering this is like a 1970s AA system versus a 1950s, 1940s jet. Like, and that's the constant at this tier because it's just how it is. Are you on your phone, Tony? Ah. I see. Haha. Yeah. In case anyone's wondering, Tony is a electrician? You're an electrician, right? Yeah, so he installs a bunch of stuff. So the noises you're hearing is him either hammering, drilling, or smashing something into another surface. So I hope you enjoy that ASMR. Oh no, I don't have a problem. I don't have a problem with it. I don't think they would. For the most part. It's not like so loud, and if it is, I can just turn the volume down. It's fine as a background noise. In fact, I think I might just turn it down a little bit. Especially when you're drilling, it can be a bit high-pitched, which is not necessarily loud, but the pitch gets high, so I just turn your volume down, and that should make it a little bit more tolerable. Considering I can still hear you, yeah. The science of sound! Turning down the volume also turns down the pitch. So, yeah. Spreading of misinformation, very bad. Very interesting playing at 8.0. It was just, I got alerted to it today, Sniper was telling me about it, and it was a dude who had bought his way through the game, pretending to be an expert in the game. As I said, he had like 300 hours, and he's literally just bought his way through the entire trees, acting like an expert because he's a level 100 marshal, and he would use the fact that he's a level 100 marshal within his actual videos and live streams. But you know, as we know, as more experienced players of War Thunder, we know that level 100 Marshal means literally nothing because it's easy to get. It's just about how many vehicles and how much you play. And the amount of vehicles that you have spaded and or play or have will greatly affect the amount of points you have towards your level.
Five.
Well, he's bragging about his level. Which, again, I was like, please, please, please don't take this dude as a expert. Now, I'm not doxing him or giving anybody his name or his YouTube or anything like that. Obviously, that's just not cool, but, like, it's very imperative that people don't take somebody's word when they aren't an expert. It's just very imperative. Even me, I'm not an expert. I don't pretend to be an expert. Even though I have nearly 4,500 hours or 5,000 hours, probably closer to 5,000 by now, that doesn't mean I'm an expert. I don't study the game enough, and I just keep learning new stuff about the game, and obviously with each update, I'm learning more and more even still.
You don't really need to say their name anyway. It's the type of person you'll know when you see them.
He's the type of person that, yeah, I don't need to dox him because if you see him, you'll know. You'll know his videos. If you ever see or come across him, you'll know. Someone is shooting at me. No. Well, Fly Daily is actually an expert in the game for the most part, considering he's a professional War Thunder player. He literally makes money off playing the game. But even he doesn't claim he's an expert. He will not sit there and say, "Oh, I'm an expert in the game." He even says the opposite at most opportunities. And the dude's literally a professional War Thunder player. He makes his living off of War Thunder.
He's esports. War Thunder is never going to esports. I just know that.
Well, they tried it, and it is getting more professional. I don't know whether it's going to esports level as a permanent thing, but it is going to esports.
If they would do like how they did, like remember like those tournaments they did?
Yeah, they are. As I said, as Sniper just said, they are actually coming to to tournaments, but it's on trial. They don't know whether they're staying. Esports has a whole bunch of games that they have on trial.
It's quite a hard game to do esports stuff for.
Yeah.
One thing
It's
I would like to see
very
them do,
well. It is
like,
possible
be
for
like
a competitive tournaments, and it very much is entertaining. The problem is that it's such a niche game that, and being a professional at it is so difficult. Because even I, as much I guess experience that I have in the game, the 4,000 hours, I'm not even good at it. So
same thing with me though, dude.
But then other times, like in this game, I'll sit there with like 700 kills, like in like 2 hours.
What?
What? We're not hearing it.
I'm not hearing it.
Yeah, I'm not hearing it either.
Hold on.
My heat.
That better?
I think it might just be the
or
volume of your microphone on his end. Yeah.
Is that better? Is that better now?
So it's very important.
It was you.
It's very important that everyone always cross checks, fact checks, and double checks, as I said.
Wait, what the heck?
So always get your information from multiple sources. So that aside, we're currently, or myself, I'm currently grinding towards the F14, the Tomcat. Got to get enough SL. We're currently at 882. We just got to get to 950, so not that far off to buy the next vehicle that I have to get. And then after that, I've just got to research the Phantom, get enough for that, which would be another 1 million, which isn't really hard to get if you're...
1.3.
Yeah, 1.3, which isn't really hard to get if you're sitting comfortably in a vehicle like the ones I'm using, the 810s or the F5s. It's just about how much you want to do the same repetitive bullshit over and over again, which is why we switch it up sometimes.
The A26 is fun, but it's just repetitive.
Yeah,
Even more repetitive than something like an F5.
Yeah. Twitch is not very good at the A26, as I've found out.
Wipe half the enemy team with your guns.
Wait, what?
Die.
What about me?
A26. I found out the other day. Remember, you were telling me how you're not as good with the A26, which is fine.
Yeah,
each person has their own
whenever
specialization when it
I use
comes.
A26, I get shot down before I even get close to the base. Even if I dive or do other tactics, as you were telling me, it's still.
Well, again, as I said, that's perfectly fine because each individual.
My F2G, I live the entire time.
Yeah, as I was about to say,
That's because you're not rushing in.
the individual.
A fighter, not a bomber.
The individual player is good at certain things. Even though this game is so like diverse and versatile, each player has their own specific tactics that they are good at, and each vehicle that they are good at. For me, I'm very into the light vehicles.
And I can't do low tier.
I'm very into the light vehicles, but I also am decent at heavy vehicles.
Just like
but when it comes to MBTs or medium tanks, I'm not very good, especially for slower ones. Like the like the Centurions and the Chieftains, I'm not very good with them because even though I've had a lot of experience with them, I'm not very good at sitting sitting there trying to actually do it properly, you know what I mean? Like, because I just cannot understand. Yeah, I see it. I gotta move so I can. Fuck.
I can't help you because I'm surrounded by bushes and I'm
flying
HE.
So I'm fine.
What y'all do?
Besides, he wants to keep pushing.
Yeah, he's not too excited at pushing into the unknown, I don't think. Especially since he can't freaking see anymore. We're doing 8.0 ground for allies. Very interesting.
He's coming around my way.
Roger. I'm gonna go wipe him out then. If he's coming straight at you.
I might grab him here.
I wish I had an extra I wish I could have a tank.
I'm reloading.
His gun's down, his gun's down.
You get a breach. Okay.
Ow.
I only have like that.
I see the other thing, I can't get it.
You're fine.
Do you want me to finish that, or?
No, yeah, I can't pierce him. I'm just trying to damage him as much as I can so I can get points.
I'll run up and finish him quickly.
Oh, something else is shooting at me. I don't see where from though.
I think
it's behind me. Yeah, it's behind me towards the owl point.
I'm gonna use the Corsair then. The Corsair is what? Oh, it's not fully steady yet.
Oh look, I've already got a like on the stream. Thank you to whoever liked it. I appreciate you. You guys are awesome. Imagine it's.
They love you.
Imagine Sniper just likes it. Thank you, Sniper. Thank you. How dare you? So was you?
About
I can see him actually doing that.
He did. He just managed to.
I just did.
Oh, he did actually just do it. Yeah. Oh, and I've got 4 likes already. Look at that. Fantastic. Love every single one of you. One of them was probably Tony, considering he's watching the video.
That felt good. Holy cow.
You know, I think Tony's watched almost every single video on my channel. Almost. To be fair, some of my videos are pretty fucking entertaining. The live streams obviously are very difficult because nobody's going to sit there for the entire 4 fucking hours that I stream for on YouTube. Yes. Absolute bay right here. Nobody could ever replace you, Tony. Nobody. Not even Jesus. Yeah. Well, I mean, as much as I love the garden, yeah, that's racist. I can't. But well, technically it's stereotyping, but still offensive. Yeah.
Oh God.
For those of you who are wondering,
what is your Twitch though? Or were you streaming on?
me, I'm on YouTube right now, and my Twitch and my YouTube and my pretty much every single fucking thing is identical to my player tag. So the fact that you even ask that means that you clearly don't pay attention enough, because I've said this to you multiple times, you doofus.
Well, if you know me about how long
yeah,
you know me,
yeah,
you know
your
I don't
memory's
pay
not
attention.
great. Yeah, your memory's not great, and you don't pay attention a lot. Bit of an attention disorder, but that's fine.
Well,
as I said, it's fine. It's fine. I have to play with Hot Red, and Hot Red actually has medical ADD, and it's very hard to get him to just sit still or stay doing the same thing. He can't play the same thing over and over again. ADHD, sorry, yeah, you're right, my bad. Not ADD.
ADD.
Yeah. Oh my god, I am a legend. I just one-tapped a Char 25T with a goddamn Falcon from like 700, 800 meters away. Let me check actually. Yeah, around almost 1,000
Well, we're
meters.
shooting at his enemies over there.
Okay, M163. I get it. You just spraying that general. I like how the gun echoes even after you stop firing. Like, it echoes for quite a while, too. And it's just because of how many rounds he spits out. He's going, like, his rounds are coming out supersonic. In the sense that there is enough bullets traveling out a fast enough time period that his gun can't even keep up with the amount of, or the sound can't even keep up with the amount of rounds that have actually come out. It's awesome. It sounds hilariously epic.
I just found the BMP.
Yeah, BMD found me, and then you found him. Hello, Spartan.
Spartan Gaming.
Yes.
Didn't know we were in 2010.
I made this back then, I think.
Oh Jesus Christ, that makes it worse.
Math checks out. That checks out. My name is so unique. I don't even think you could put a year on it. Like, it's not even a generic year. Like,
I'll tell you my first video I posted. Hold on.
When were cat videos popular? Then put a year.
Sorry, no.
Well, I mean, a lot of people have
the
toxic in their name, but toxic is just something I put as not necessarily as a specific year or type. It's just a characterization towards the character that I am, because sometimes I can be quite toxic or abrasive, and I don't apologize for that. So hence the name. And then there's Warcat because of the games that I play and because of my tendencies, cat-like tendencies, and also I can make cat noises. So, yeah.
Just like misinformation, my original theme name was Twitchy.
Hey, I like the character. I put antlers on it because it was interesting, and it made it like it kind of worked like this. Oh no, nothing to do with Thundercats. Hey, look. Do you see what I see? Hey, look over here. There's something more interesting for you to shoot.
What have you found?
An ASU. It's still alive.
Yes.
ASU 57. Spray it.
1 minute. We're putting the engine back together with duct tape. Give me a minute.
The Roycat's shot it 3 times and hasn't killed it. The fuck? There is like 4 dudes in there. They're all sitting next to each other. I'm gonna kill it. Ah, he's already dead.
Oh, the shot it.
Yeah. And I missed with my shell anyway. I overcorrected. A common problem in this thing. Even though I kind of knew the range, I was just like not paying attention to where my reticle actually was. Just kind of yeeting.
Oh, I see the dead ASU.
The only problem with that is it's quite difficult.
Dynamite. 'Cause I can see it from here. 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 'Cause I
Well, problem with that is anything that moves a lot of air will also move a fly.
Air compressor.
So, yeah, that is true.
How about just a bottle of body spray and a lighter?
See, that sounds more effective.
That's fun. That's fun.
Or maybe just the bottle of body spray, because I'm pretty sure that's poison enough for it anyway.
Yeah, but if you set it on fire...
It's poison and on fire.
Exactly.
It's a win-win still.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Thank you to everybody who's popping into the stream. I'm fucking dead. Dude, there's a BMP behind us, or a BMD, across the river, I think. Or it might be on our side, I'm not entirely sure. I just know that I lost my turret. I think he's...
Right, well, if it appears, I'm gonna not kill it, because I have 49 rounds left.
That's right, you only need to hurt it. Scared enough that it's not gonna come out and kill me.
Stop it from moving.
Yeah. Just scare it for long enough for me to reload, then the problem will solve itself. Don't go out there, he'll smack you. Let me go out first.
Nah.
But he likes this.
Yeah, I'll dodge it.
You'll dodge it. Yes, with your giant box with no armor, you're gonna dodge it, huh?
He's further right.
No, yeah, I see him. He's right there. That's him right there.
What is it?
My headset did that thing where when my charger's in, it disconnects it. Love that. That only happens occasionally, so... Oh, it's a ZSU. I could probably just splash, damn it. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do it.
I think because I hit the turret ring and enough of it was absorbed.
You need to be far enough back though for it to
Yeah.
be able to splash damage it.
Yeah, it's too close to that building. It's probably because it knows what I am and it knows that I can just splash damage it.
I shall go investigate further, Sir Toxic. Oh, this thing doesn't float anymore.
No, it doesn't.
No, the 163 is not amphibious anymore. That's one very, very, very wet.
He's peeking.
Yeah, I know. I was trying to get my ass end to it to get it to peek out, but it jumped out while I was busy trying to turn it to the left. Clever girl.
I found that the hard way that the 160 doesn't float anymore.
Yeah, no, it's
No.
it's not. It's not amphibious.
Spartan, we appreciate that information, but he figured that out when he sunk to the bottom of the river. So.
Well, he did his own Mythbuster there though.
Nothing else was needed to be said. I appreciate what you were going for, but that was terrible.
Like, do my own Mythbusters. I don't remember them losing an entire crew.
Yeah, I was gonna say, bit different.
Well, an invisible crew.
What? No, they're very much visible. You can go into X-ray and see them. They even animate now too.
Sticks out the roof.
Yeah, dude actually moves now. They've like upgraded the X-rays so much that the dudes inside are actually animated and will move when they are operating the vehicle. Yeah.
So if I shoot one in the head with a 183, he might move a little bit.
Or while they're operating the gun, you can see their arms and hands move. And sometimes they'll turn their head occasionally. Look, I was starting to try to shoot a missile at you.
No, stop it, Vickers. No, I don't float anymore, Vickers.
But you want to float. Yeah, I'll float down here.
Oh, I see him. Up at that house.
Roger that. Do you think you can get him with your toe? Because there's no way I
might
can
be
even
big
see
enough. I don't know if it's long enough to reach. truck run over there, see if he's behind it still.
I mean, yeah, you've got two, so you might as well. Watch out for the scout. BMD got him.
Well, I think the BMP I'm shooting at isn't. It's not a BMD.
It's a
BMP one.
The BMD, yeah, is in the town over here. I watched it shoot up at him. Here it is. He shot a missile at me. I shot an APDS round into his ammunition compartment. Yeah, we kind of ammo wrecked each other. Whoopsie! Oh, that's hilarious. If your toe can't reach it, my swing fire definitely can.
I killed the BMP.
Alrighty, yeah.
You died as well.
There's a T10. Oh, fantabulous.
T10, and let's get my decently modern missile system to deal with it. Heavy tank.
I gave him emotional support.
It's found it.
Yep. And it's spraying as many rounds into it as it can to the point where it's almost overheated its gun. And in fact, I imagine it's probably going to jam or overheat relatively quickly. There's the IS-6 dead. Oh, he probably mistook the IS-6 for an AT-10. That is not a T-10, that is an IS-6.
The same thing, but I'm better. Because mine is shocked and appalled at anything that you say to it.
Mm-hmm.
Just look at me.
It's quite cute, I don't lie.
Oh god.
That's very anime.
Oh my god.
I have the power of anime and God on my side!
Ah!
There's like 2 of them left.
Yeah, one of them's inside their spawn. Left spawn.
Never really always
left of, you know what I mean by left spawn, right? Even though there isn't currently a left spawn, it's the one of those over there.
I know. That's what we always say.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know whether they always sit there on this particular version of this map, but I know on this particular version that I saw someone over there firing their gun up into the sky, and it was red and white traces, which is only common on Russian vehicles. To which there is a T-54 somewhere over there. And I imagine the ZSU is still alive, although I have no idea where he would be right now. Unless he was killed at some point, which is entirely possible. But then again, it's a ZSU. That thing's the most overpowered motherfucker at this battle. T-57s that just say fuck you and literally delete any tank that it sees. And it's on a goddamn T-54 chassis.
I think this T-54 is trying to hold the main bridge in the middle.
Oh, is he?
To keep people off of it by hiding, yeah. He's hiding further up the river towards his spawn.
Okay, I'll see if I can find him.
Should be on the left side from my ping that now, that friendly did.
I wonder if there's anything I should pin the side of this.
Attention to the map! Attention to the map!
Okay, 2 separate pings. One was scarily close from.
I don't see the T-54 actually on the bridge, and I don't think he is.
Okay. So your ZSU is still alive?
Yes, the ZSU is definitely still alive and actually camping Bravo. He's being very effective with it.
They changed the sound of the M163 again?
Well done.
Oh,
I shot that over a fence and then person through a bridge.
H1 is shooting at something.
Oh no, he's just shooting because he likes the sound of his miniguns.
Well, he fired rockets as well, so I imagine that he does see something, and he's just pinged it on the map. So I'd imagine that there likely is actually something out there. Otherwise, why would he ping it?
So I hit the lower plate on that and did nothing.
Are you sure? Because it seems very dead.
That was no second missile.
Yeah.
The first missile just did nothing.
I got you, man. I was being funny. There's a mouse crossing the Rhine bridges. I'm pretty sure this bridge, or not the Rhine bridge, the whatever the fuck arch bridges. I'm pretty sure that bridge would not be able to withstand the weight of the mouse and would literally just sink. You'd think I'd say crumble, but no, that motherfucker would just sink. It would sink into the earth and fall apart.
Really? Did the Americans have to put like a little 1 horsepower engine in the M113s?
Yeah, pretty much.
Can barely get up a hill.
Yeah. Yeah, they're very intelligent, the Americans. They love to do very intelligent things with their vehicles. Only about 4 or 5 iterations after the first one.
Is there another ZSE in front of me?
Meanwhile, Russia during the Soviet era was very intuitive with the first eras of vehicles, and the second or middle eras had more problems than the first, and then the latest versions would be the best, because they would keep using the same vehicle well before or well after it should be used, and still was effective. Because Russians during the Soviet era were intelligent. Russians during the current era, or the no longer USSR but the Soviet Union, no longer Soviet Union or USSR but the current Russian, is it Democratic Republic, or is it a, what is it actually? It's still a communism obviously, but
Federation.
it's a federation?
Yeah. The Russian Federation. An IS-4M.
Yeah, so the current Russian Federation is obviously not the USSR, and very stupid. Not to say that they don't build innovative technology anymore, because they do, they're still competitive. It's just not as competitive as the USSR was back then. And they seem to be very much in favor of doing really bad things. So Gaijin. Banned from Gaijin, just Gaijin in general. All Gaijin products I'm banned from. Well, but no, I mean it is true. It's true. The Russian Federation nowadays is not as intelligent as the USSR was. That's just a fact.
The USSR did so much.
Yeah, like, yeah. That's what I'm like. That's what I'm trying to say. For its time, the USSR did a lot of intelligent things that, for the most part, yes, some leaders did let them down. Yes, certain leaders did ruin the USSR, but the USSR as a whole actually did a lot of intelligent things when it came to being a government. However, that doesn't mean that they were perfect. And Russia has been kind of the bad guy for a long time. But the Federation, currently, the one we have now, is a complete disaster compared to the really powerful USSR. That's all I'm saying. Like, the Federation we have now isn't as much a competitor as the USSR was. Even though they are still innovating technology, the actual ability to implement and use that technology is much weaker versus the USSR was
this match is
back
so
in the
close.
day. It is, yeah.
We had 10 seconds left to cap that.
Let me know when your match is over.
The match is over. We literally just said that.
I can't really hear you.
Ah, radio. Well, if you need to turn Tony down, you can do that now. So just do that. I'm aware. I appreciate it. You know you're my boo.
Can I have an invite to the?
Yes, you will. Yes, you will. It's alright. My protege here will handle that. No, but for real, you should check out his
I'm not
channel.
squad leader.
He's but how dare you? I was about to get up, go downstairs, and make myself a coffee, and you're gonna pull this shit on me?
But
what a lazy
you're
bastard.
toxic.
Yeah, don't give me some bullshit like, oh, he's not my friend, as if you can't look up his name. His name's very fucking simple.
No, his name is in my contacts and everything.
Yeah, you lazy
Yeah,
prick.
it's actually quite near the top, especially when he's online. But you
He's
know.
just a lazy prick. You Scottish
Yeah.
bastard. Alright, we're still doing 8-0? Alright. Okay. Did someone just get bonked? I just heard doof. Spawn over here.
Okay.
Living in a cartoon, getting
Down here.
How'd you know I live in a cartoon?
Well, I mean, it's the only
Isn't
reason.
America just like an episode of Tom and Jerry or something?
Yeah. Well, now it definitely is. It's an absolute disaster at the moment. I need to fill this goddamn kettle because it is completely empty. What the fuck?
Although I'll never understand America one bit.
Just like we'll never understand the rest of the world either.
Well, I mean, I understand
That's
America,
because
and
it's
a
too
great
complicated
concept.
for you.
America is a great concept. It's absolutely fantastic, and it's one of the world leaders in terms of its citizens' rights.
Except we have idiots that run it at times.
Yeah, that's the problem. That's the current climate.
Yeah, that's the main issue.
That's
That's the main issue with everything.
Like
Idiots that run everything.
Obama wasn't perfect, but a lot of it wasn't his fault.
I didn't mind. He did good, but I just didn't really like him.
He tried to give you free healthcare and you denied it.
Yeah.
I didn't.
No.
I didn't deny anything.
Specifically deny it, but like that's what I'm saying.
I'm not saying you. I'm saying you as America.
Yeah. America, the governments that were in control, they have a bit of a problem because even though it's a democracy, it's kind of a communism as well. Because in the sense that the powers aren't exactly always agreeing, and one side has more power than the other.
Yeah,
and that's causing a really bad problem, which is
just look how Star Wars is.
Yeah, because it means that if one person decides that one thing is better and forces that judgment through, the other side, even if they don't agree, can't do anything. They can't appeal the process, because even if the process gets appealed, it will just have the same results. Which is why I say America is a world leader when it comes to its citizens' right, but when it comes to the government, they also have struggles, because when it comes into people in power, like a lot of people will blame Obama for a lot of things that happened, but actually it was not Obama himself, but rather the people that opposed him that did moves.
Yeah, it's the people underneath him.
Yeah, it was the people underneath him that opposed him that made moves that were against what he was trying to push, but he can't tell them off or fire them. He's not allowed to do that. But at the same time,
he's allowed to do is just say yay or nay at times and be the final vote.
Well, actually, he has the final vote, yes, and he's allowed to any parliament in the world, the prime ministers and presidents have the ability to push or pass a legislation without the requirement of a house. The problem is whether or not that
justified or not.
Legislation becomes actually used, because even though he might be able to push or pass a legislation, it still has to be voted on and it has to be applied. And if it's not actually passed, then the legislation is thrown out. So even if he's able to put one in without having to get the approval or go through an entire process to get just to, like, say, suggest something, because that's how it works in most democratic societies, even to just suggest a legislation, you have to have enough backers to support you with that legislation. Then you can pass it through Parliament, and then Parliament will get to decide. This is the same thing for prime ministers, presidencies, and all democracies around the world. The problem with that is that if the opposing party has more votes or has more people, they can just say no and throw it out, regardless of whether or not it actually has a positive effect for the country. Now the country is suffering for it because certain people didn't agree with Obama and kind of forced their way, and that caused a problem because now the current presidents that have taken over, Trump and Biden, have both done things that were in either the best interest or the worst interest, but in their own interest, in both ways. Interest for their party.
Biden, I just don't like. He's. Just,
I agree with the I agree with the
him.
Biden administration in terms of what they're attempting to accomplish. What they're attempting is great. That's fantastic. What you're attempting to do is fine. But what you attempt and what you accomplish are two separate things. And in a government, you are not judged on what you attempt, but what you accomplish. What you actually do.
Biden barely hasn't really accomplished anything. That's the issue.
Well, I don't think Biden should be a president or should even be a presidency candidate because I don't think he is mentally fit to be a presidential candidate.
He can't even ride a bicycle.
Well, that's not a learning disability,
but
rather.
He's also old, though.
Okay, first of all,
he's old.
He's old, so he's probably not going to be able to ride a bicycle, but some old people can, so there's that. You can't just say that just because he's old he can't ride a bicycle. But also, if he was never taught to ride a bicycle, of course the man can't ride a bicycle. He can't do what you don't know. It's like swimming. It's like swimming. Oh, I curved that around the building, I couldn't even see that shit. Fantastic. But it's like swimming. If you don't know how to do it, you can't do it. No matter how much you try, you have to be taught. You won't be a good swimmer.
He's getting led down the wrong path by everyone else that's underneath him.
The problem isn't that, but rather that his administration is a lot of the heavy lifting because he is mentally unwell. Now it doesn't affect him all the time because obviously he wouldn't be able to do anything at all if he wasn't. Yeah, it's just sometimes he forgets what he is doing or what he is attempting, and sometimes he might even forget he's the president.
The issue is that his wife and whoever that's with him there.
Yeah.
Are the real monsters against him because they're allowing him to be there.
Shitty tits, ass tits. Help me.
Yes, I like all those.
Help me. You like shit?
Help you with what?
Shit's ass and tits. I have a BMP and a T-55 just over the ridge from me.
T-54 also right here. By me.
Yeah, I'm in a shit mix.
I'll try to get you toxic, but I'm
it's
not
too
sure
late.
if I'll live.
You're fine. I already got a kill on the thing, so that's alright.
I haven't done anything. I've only died.
The problem is more so that they're right by our capture zone.
I got a phone call.
But it should be alright.
What, do you have any idea where those tanks are toxic?
Yes, I do. They are chilling right here. One's obviously in the zone, and the other one is, let me just wait, just there, behind the rocks. They are very much. Yeah, I was gonna say. One of them is a BMP with the missiles. I can forget which one it is. Spartan might be killing it right now.
Got the boom.
Nope, Sniper got him. Good job. And then the other one is the Leopard, or the IU-251.
Are you? I don't see
it. There's a Leopard and a IU-251. The IU-251 is on the point. The Leopard is somewhere to the left.
I'm pretty sure I saw the Leopard. The Leopards.
Good kill.
I took his driver out. Toxic.
Yeah, I got him.
Nice.
I had to use the Milan. My gun wasn't necessarily piercing very well. I was trying to get him with the gun
Well,
because I knew a
that's-
good Pierce, but I just wasn't hitting his crew. I'm sorry.
That's 3 deaths for me without doing a single thing.
Hey, you got an assist there.
Yeah, just that all my dude, like all the things how I got killed so far
Mm-hmm.
were that I should not have died because they kill crew even though they shot my the gun
Hmm.
on
What,
my
in the
M901.
901? That's because there's a magical thing called ATGMs, which are tad
Well,
explosive.
no, it didn't hit the ATGM. It didn't hit anything.
It doesn't
like
matter, it's HFS.
Does, yeah, I was
it's
gonna
HE.
say it doesn't matter.
It,
It's,
he
if
didn't
the
hit- I didn't get
overpressure
shot
would
through
set
the
it
vest,
off.
though.
It's an RU-251. You're gonna
Okay.
get
It wasn't that originally though. I got killed by T-55 too, T-54.
T-55 is
He
gonna
has
have
APDS.
APDS and heat. I don't know if they get heat FS. They're
He
getting a heat though.
used APDS on it. I seen the shell. It was APDS.
Yeah, but APDS can shrapnel.
Yeah,
Saber and
it's fine. He hit
APHE
some
rounds are the things that they use for the most part. APCBC or APHE, as well as Sabo and I don't know whether they get heat FS, but they do. Some of them get heat. So all of those things have the ability to send hot shrapnel into a missile, which will set it off. Which isn't stupid or dumb. It makes a whole lot of sense, especially if your missile is filled with missile fuel. It doesn't matter where you hit it because it's filled with fuel and explosives. So yeah, it's just going to set it off anyway. It's just kind of how it is, and there's not really much you can do about it.
One bomb.
Yeah, one bomb and
That's
we're
why
all
I'm
gone.
looking. That's why I'm looking at their spawn.
You're not looking at the planes coming in from behind us, though.
That's friendly.
Huh?
Not the one the way I'm looking.
Give us a bearing.
Panic.
Panic?
I don't see it.
Oh, that's karma.
Where?
At the tunnel. Oh, he's in low poly.
Low power?
To my left. He's up on the rocks to the left. I'm dead, really.
Roger that. I think I see him. Oh god, I'm hitting rocks. I'm dead. Boom! Get him. Good kill.
Well, how much lines did I lose this match?
Oh, you wouldn't have lost a whole lot. You would have lost a bit, but not a whole lot, considering you did get the cap.
2 M901s, which cost 8,800 each.
Yeah. Remember,
and
you got the
2
cap, which is
163s,
10,000.
Which cost almost 6,000. Or 8,000 each. Or 4,000 each. So
Yeah,
8,000 right there.
but remember, you did get the cap, which gives you 10,000. You're with us, which will give you best squad, which will get you another 5,000, or around.
we
don't have best squad.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
So technically, I won't be gaining really much anyway.
Sure.
Technically, if at all, I'll probably be making.
I think you'll be making a little bit, but not a lot.
About maybe 1,000, if that.
Yeah.
Paul? Good girl.
Oh, it's so nice.
Yeah.
Oh.
So, you gotta see the.
Australia or somewhere.
What?
Oh, well, I've covered, don't I? So, my nose is blocked and heat is so annoying and so painful. And it's nice and cold.
Cold causes your nose to be even further blocked, so I don't see how that helps.
Yeah,
and
but
the
it's
heat
not,
will keep you
and
warm.
Heat, it's extremely annoying and hard to breathe. And M40 heat's still up there. no
That's
one's
true,
killed
but it
anyone.
also keeps you alive and healthy when you have a cold. Because the heat warms up your body temperature.
Yeah, the cold.
But it also
is
gives you a
nice.
bit of a fever.
I should turn my fan on.
The reason why the cold feels nice is because you have a fever. But sweating out the fever is a good thing, and therefore the heat is a good thing. So your personal comfort is... Why the hell did he bomb that? He was shooting at me, saw me, and then decided to bomb the dead thing.
People are stupid, dude.
You are correct.
Skill
People are stupid.
issue.
It is a skill issue.
I uploaded a video the other day called Skill Issue,
That one
and
missed.
it's their very blind challenger.
He kamikaze to miss. Dude, that guy sucked. What was he in? A Peshka tube. Makes sense. Oh yeah, is that a dude right there?
rat. Lay down.
What are you calling a dog or rat? Two anatomically different. One's a rodent, the other's a canine. They come from different families.
Shut up. Oh! You're hefty. Hey, I don't have much couch left. You're pushing me over the edge.
Let's see.
You're fat.
I don't think anyone's over here, because obviously that's our spawn. But what I am worried about is in front of us and to
train
the left.
bridges.
Yeah.
Check where the bridge is for the train.
Yeah, I'm going over there now.
Yeah, that's where they're mainly at.
I don't know whether I'll be able to see up there too well. I can see the train, but the trees are kind of blocking my view on the hill where the tunnel is, yeah. Unfortunately, trees are quite cool to the environment around them. So it does make visualization on a thermal sight quite difficult. But I do have a traditional sight with my commander binoculars, so I can look with those. I don't see anything. I hear a helicopter, and we don't have one. Bruh, where did my missile go? Nah, my machine gun's dead. They can't catch it. My machine guns can't catch my of course. That even missed. Did you see that?
It like hit like a thing off your tank.
Oh, that doesn't
hit one of your
necessarily
rungs.
matter.
It hit one of your rungs.
Well, again,
Your toe rungs.
that doesn't necessarily matter. But on my screen, how did my ATGM not hit him, by the way? Like, on my screen, it went straight through him.
It exploded from my screen. It exploded right on at him, and then it was.
No, I saw it go through him.
Oh, it was different on my screen.
Interesting. I'd have to look at it on the YouTube to be able to check what actually happened, but considering it's got a slow-mo feature. Alrighty, man. I appreciate you being here. Love you. I will see you when you get home.
Bye.
Mwah. Have fun at work. Alright. It's alright, I'm wearing socks.
Why is it even kind of thing?
Well, that's what makes it funny. Just saying it out of context. Nobody said shit. That's what makes it funny.
And I'm stupid enough to laugh at it.
I laughed at it and I'm the one that said it. What does that make me? Fucking retarded? I don't know.
Yes.
Makes me very much not so smart, I guess. If I laugh at my own joke, that wasn't even that funny.
There's a mouse.
Well, there's also a mouse right there. I'm gonna shoot at him till his gun barrel disappears. Haha, what? Bruh, his gun was red and he still fired. What the frick? Titties ass bitch, what the fuck? And his gun didn't even explode. He's, what the fuck? Tits ass guys, you motherfucking bitch, what the fuck? Bitch ass titty face, motherfucker.
Mouse OP.
It's not OP. What do you mean? How does he shoot with no gun? He has no gun. How can shoot?
Mouse is mouse.
But he's not gun. No gun. How shoot? How shoot no gun?
Mouse is gun. So destroy gun must destroy mouse.
Yes, that is very bad. I don't understand. I also accidentally yelled there by accident, so I got yelled at. But I got to turn it. Try to be quiet. Sometimes I can't tell when I'm yelling, but it's only sometimes. I must be quiet. But what about? So I was like, what the hell? But I didn't realize when I was saying that I was being so loud. Okay. Wow, I got his horizontal. He can still shoot at me if he looks at me though. There we go.
Nice.
Where's that mouse? I can pen the mouse too.
He probably went down the hill.
Yeah, he's a slow ass motherfucking tub bath, so he'd probably not try to go up any uphills if at all possible, so he's probably over here somewhere. In fact, I think I can hear him.
I definitely wouldn't.
Yeah, he's down there. He's down there somewhere.
Right.
Yeah, I see it.
Great kill.
Something else. Fuck! Non-pen! What do you mean non-pen? That's okay, I reload faster than he does.
I've just realised I have another reason to hate the country I live in.
Why?
Wow.
So you know how fuel at the moment is really expensive?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's fuel's expensive.
Yeah. Half of the fuel tank currently is tax. Half the price of your fuel is tax.
Damn.
If you fill the whole 100 quid, half of that is tax.
Fuck me, that is bad.
Got 182 pence per litre as well. So it was £2 the other
Shit,
day.
I can't stay here. Ah, fuck. I might as well just go. I've got a 2-plate stabilizer. I can fire on the move. Well, he missed. If I get shot in the back here, I can hear it.
How was your drop smoke? Your rear.
Yeah.
What about the guy to your front?
No, I'm just going to pop it to my rear and keep driving backwards. I can hear
Where is the
you.
mouse?
It's right there. Right there. You're gonna push out like, ah ha ha, I will beat you, but you won't. I can reload and pen you.
I'm watching your front.
Roger. Might try something cheeky here. Reload, pull back. What? Bruh. From where did he pen me?
So
He just scraped the corner of my turret. That was enough. I guess that works. I'll just come out in another goddamn motherfucker. I don't have the Vickers, but I do have the Centurion. I wanted to come out in the Centurion, the Vickers, because it's so... Oh my god, I'm not going to spawn in time. There we go. I can't switch vehicles, because switching vehicles takes too long, and that's really annoying. I wanted another 105 so that I could pierce through the, miles, but I can pierce with the 75, with the 105.
Well, you can pin with the 80s. One of the 84 of the Centurions.
Yeah, I know. Also, it's not one of the 84s of the Centurions. There is only one 84 with the Centurions. They just have the same gun. There's just the 84mm Royal Ordnance. All the same weapon system. It's like the 76 Royal Ordnance, the 90mm Royal Ordnance. They're always the same weapon system. It's just different types of application. I'm probably going to end up with a loss. considering it's a 1v like 5 situation.
If one of the guys never even died yet.
Yeah, there's the Mals trying to shoot me. This dude on my left here thinks he's cunning. Because I'm not gonna see him. Oh, ricochet! He also ricocheted on me. I'm good, the mouse has missed. I'm gonna pull out a Hess shell. No ricochet chance from a Hess shell. He's on my left, back left. Right here. Target destroyed. Reload, roll, move. Mouse is pushing. He's gonna straight push me, I reckon. Yes,
Yep,
he is.
fuck your left.
I see him. Gotta watch the right as well, because there's a tank pulling up this way. Do you see him on the map?
Yes, I do. I
Yeah,
see him on the
yeah,
map.
yep. Tank just over there. In fact, I can see it.
Fire the T-54.
Yep, it is. I can see it. Has he moved? Yeah, he has. He fired and then ran away.
APDS will go right through his front plate.
Yeah, I know. I have Hesh loaded though for the mouse, so I can smack him in the turret or anywhere else I need to. Problem is I need to get into the zone, and I can't while that T-55 is sitting right there. He's sitting over there. Shit. Pull back, load it, APDS. Up.
Well, at least you lived, so...
Yeah.
You got a few kills.
Oh, that was very intense.
Yeah, I lost
That was
8,000
almost
mines that match.
That was almost successful. I probably could have pulled a win out from that.
Yeah, I lost 8K. That's... ouch.
All I had to do was kill the tanks close by. They would have had to respawn. I could decap their zone. Ah, but that still wouldn't make me win, would it? No.
No, when...
Because the ticket bleed wouldn't beat the clock. They would have a ticket bleed, but it wouldn't beat the clock. As you
one
just
second,
ran.
I need to put some backup vehicles on.
48,000 civil lines from that. That was pretty good. That was pretty good. British Armed Forces Day. Apparently it's the British Armed Forces Day. Decal in honor of the British Armed Forces Day 2022. Pretty cool.
I'm just gonna use this. I'm just gonna use my Centauri Mark III.
I'm pretty sure I have other armed forces decals as well. I just don't know which ones they are.
Centauri Mark III in my lineup.
I got the Bundeswehr one as well earlier.
Yes, the Canada one. Oh, that's not the armed forces one though. I got a lot of just random ass things. Dove of
so
Peace, the snail, 9 years old, the grenade, love letter, motherland decal. The love letter I don't understand why. It was for Valentine's Day, but why? Why would... What are we over here fucking celebrating?
Oh.
This, what, is War Tinder? Are we doing War Tinder for real now?
Yes.
You know,
I
imagine.
remember that cursed YouTube short.
The one that War Thunder made? The actual...
Yeah.
Bro, it's so fucked. You have to watch it, for real. Have you seen it, Spartan?
I did.
No, I haven't.
You should watch it, it's pretty great. You'll love it.
Let's go.
1 second, I'm putting the love letter on my tank. My Centurion.
No.
Boop. There you go. Alright. I find it very interesting that the British 8.0 lineup does not include any kind of medium tank. Well, we have the Vickers now, but like, it's not necessarily a medium tank. Well, it's classed as a medium tank. It's a cruiser tank, really.
Yeah.
Down tier?
Well, I'm in
Possibly.
a 7.3, so that'd be nice.
I'm in a full 8.0 lineup.
Oh, I'm just gonna use my British. Where are we going? Bravo side?
You're in a full 8.0 loadout with British? What?
I'm an American, playing with American.
Oh, right. So I thought
I'm in
Spartan
the
was the
British.
American. Why are you in the Britain?
I'm gonna go around the flanking route that supposedly blocked off around Charlie. because I defy all walls that they place in front of me.
Same. I'll do the exact same thing. Only I'm not as fast and powerful. I have a tractor as an engine. Because the Britons believed that tractors were the most superior form of transportation. Isn't that right? You're Scottish.
What decal do you have on the front of you?
The green one or the white one?
Just whatever it is.
There's two.
What is it then?
I have the Lucky 14, which is a Australian decal for the Australian Air Forces, and then I've got the Panda because I like pandas.
Gaijin.
Wow, they've completely walled that off.
So there used to be tiny little tank trucks, you know the ones I want about?
Yeah.
The concrete ones.
Yeah.
They used to be alone and you could just drive up and get over them. But
they've switched them out, yeah. With
yeah,
the hedgehogs.
Massive rocks. Hold on a minute.
Ow! Come on! Shoots me, but not the person right next to him.
Yeah, man. People like that. They're very
And of course, our
tunnel-visioned.
teammate that's right there couldn't do anything anyway.
Yeah. You should know not to trust blueberries for anything. You more than anyone. As you've suffered the most from it. If you kill someone with that long shot, I will kiss you in the mouth.
That went over the hill towards the heli
know.
spawn.
I know where it
Kills
went.
the heli anyway.
Kills a heli. Imagine if you... I mean, I know you can. I know it's very much possible, but you just artillery the heli spawn and actually get a kill. Or even better, proxy fuse it.
Ow.
Come on!
Missed.
Game!
Yeah.
Oh, there's
I
two
can't
now.
shoot him, game! Oh my god, this
I
tree's
knew it was
gonna
going to hit the
kill. I
tree.
can't
God
see.
damn it.
There's another one out there.
Yeah, I see it, I see it, I see it.
He's looking at me more than you.
I can't see because this game is not.
No, he's looking at you now.
Yep. Nope.
No, he's still wanting me.
Mhm.
Even though
I mean, he looked at me.
Tree, move. Oh my god, this tree's.
I shot my missile.
Thank you, tree. I'm falling.
Why do you keep talking to Tree? Tree's not here. I'm gonna hide behind your dead corpse. Like a cheeky bastard.
Oh, I'm good for.
I think he saw me. You saw enough? All they had to do was peek out the back end and he shut the missile compartment. I didn't realise so much of my back end would peek out, but then again, he's not some scrub lord that bought the IS-6. He's somebody who's clearly played the game and bought the IS-6. He was very intelligent. If it was an idiot or a noob, when I disappeared, they would have just moved up, but he stayed there because he knew I was still there.
Yeah, I guess they should have actually gotten closer to you.
Why is there a helicopter behind
you
me?
do with the IS-6 is you press yourself up against the enemy.
Oh, it's you. Okay. Good luck, sniper.
Please don't shoot me.
Oh, I'm gonna shoot you.
Much as I hate the H1G.
They have a plane up.
I care more going for the IS-6 and things to just die to them again.
So I've already locked it from 10 kilometers away. This thing's radar's pretty great, I do have to say. The Marksman has probably one of the best tracking radars in the game at this battle rating. Not the best search radar, but definitely the best track.
Nice
Without
kill
a
on the
doubt.
object.
So I crippled the IS.
Yeah. Thank you for the assist on that object, by the way. Appreciate the points.
Killed Mr. Object.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm somehow still alive, touch wood. Hey,
Yeah.
Toxic.
How you doing? I'm just gonna save your ass real quick. Just feel free to stay there if you like, or don't actually, because we get shut down.
How does that ricochet?
Well, I'm
Oh,
sitting
the
there watching
bulldog.
those tracers not go anywhere near the SE
How
line,
does
but
that
kill
ricochet
it.
off his front plate?
On your perspective, maybe. On mine, they were like laser on. They were only going like either side of him, so I just had to move the guns a little bit down,
It's so annoying.
so that the right-hand gun would actually hit him, because I was aiming with the right-hand gun. That's the problem with this Chieftain Marksman. The guns are so far spread apart. They should be inverted so that they both sit in the middle and not on either side like they are.
Yeah.
Because as they are
Of course,
so wide, it is very difficult to hit a plane, especially if they're further out that you're shooting. When it's closer, it doesn't necessarily affect it, but the further out that you're shooting, the more it will cross over, and the further out, like if you have a gun zeroing distance, which this thing does for some reason. But you can't control it on tanks. You can't control a gun zero distance. That's not a thing you can do. So I can't just put it to 0 and have the rounds just fly out normally. Like how when I look at the aircraft, part of my radar gets completely blocked because it's being blocked by the aircraft. It's pretty great. What was that? 4
Oh,
kilometers?
come on.
3, 2, oh 3, 2.
How am I hitting the ground? I'm dead because our
There we
team's
go.
not defending anything.
I was just a duck.
I do not care.
That's what shot me and almost killed me.
Again, I was affected by the gun targeting. It's very annoying having this gun spread far apart. But at the same time, I'm able to deal with it.
Ruby.
Really, I just
So
kind
you
of
buy yourself a Shilka.
for real. I just go to China and just premium wallet bar
Oh.
that shit.
Russian.
I'm down 20 seconds.
Yeah. The Russians have a premium Shilka?
No.
They just,
No.
it's tech free AA.
Yeah, I know it is. I just
You're not playing it, by the way, Toxic.
yeah, I know. I just can't see it. I've already got it on my radar. It's just I can't actually see it.
You're not console player it.
I am. I'm trying to. It's
Well,
so
I thought
low
you
to
were
the
on
ground
console,
that
that's an advantage if you're playing an AA.
yeah. Oops, spark lagged out. Or rage quit, not necessarily which. Yeah, that plane is flying super low.
Any idea on roughly where it is?
Yep. It's bearing south of me or over in
Yeah,
yeah.
I see him.
Yeah, I see him too. He's trying to stick really low so he doesn't get shut down. He's to your yeah, you see him actually. Good luck.
Those cannons do nothing.
Yep, don't worry, he flew straight into your
None of
dead
cannons.
corpse.
Yeah,
So,
miniguns
like
do
a fucking
nothing.
idiot. Like that's fine if you're gonna sit there and try to kill a helicopter in a prop plane, but if you run into it, you've just given that helicopter a kill. Like, don't be an idiot.
I much prefer going for helis at top tier in MiG-27.
I mean, yeah,
That
Considering-
is just so satisfying.
yeah. I was gonna say, considering the 30 mils would one smack anything, aircraft, tank, or plane, or battleship, it just generally doesn't really care. But the problem with
I am borderline tempted to start
I could
thinking
see-
about chasing after God in a MiG-27. Like, it's just so powerful and I love the plane so much. It doesn't look horrible, it doesn't fly horrible.
yeah, I'm quite fond
Yeah,
of the MiG-23 as well. Oh well, mine's a
The worst part about the
MiG-23.
MiG-27 and 23 is the countermeasures.
I can't agree with you there.
You can't turn and use countermeasures at the same time.
Yeah,
on the
because it fires
later
them
ones.
upwards. Yeah.
Yeah, it fires them up and then it just puts them straight into your afterburner.
which is
Pretty good.
basically might as well do nothing. You might as well not even use it. Yeah. That plane's like, yeah, nah. I was wondering, is there any other planes up? There's a friendly plane. But there is another plane up that I can see. 84's already gone after that dude. I've got multiple contacts on my radar. I've got 4 contacts. To which one of which I can confirm is enemy, 2 of which I can confirm is hostile. The other one I cannot ID though. That's a Ho 229. That's more of a threat to me than the other plane is. The other plane, the 84 can deal with. Oh, I can
So the entirety of my crew is now red thanks to the 84.
There we go. I didn't even use my radar for that. I could just free fire it. Bug it. Why is my radar not locking this Ho 229? What does it have? Stealth tech? Actually, it is a pretty slim profile and hard to see, so to be honest, yes, but annoying. Come here, let me shoot you. Come here, bitch. Come here. Come here. Come here, 229. Come here. Don't run. Just get shut down like a good boy. Come on, bitch. Ah, ran out of ammo. Well, I'm out. I'm out of ammo. You wanna deal with those planes? It's GG anyway. We're about to lose.
Why did I have to lag then?
I could just J out and come out the Falcon, but like I'd rather not pay the repair cost. Especially when the game's about to be over.
Oh, I could have killed the whole if my crew wasn't all red thanks to the 84 that bombed the cap.
Why did that friendly 84 even bomb the cap? Did he get a kill or anything, or he's just?
There's an M48 next to me.
Oh.
But it was too close to be bombed, and he still bombed anyway.
Oh.
And turned the entirety of my crew red and almost killed me.
That's not preferable. That's not the nicest thing could have done. So I'm gonna assume that Spartan's rage quit or decided to hop off or had to go or something and not lagged out. I don't know what the option is. I don't really care. He has his own life, so he's allowed to do whatever he wants. So I'm just assuming based on the fact that he's no longer here. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, what do you say we Actually, no, you know what? We can stay at this tier. I was gonna say switch it up, but it's fine. It doesn't really matter.
Good switch up.
I mean, if you want to, we could, but I just realized that I'm making money at this tier, and quite a lot of it actually. So surprisingly, yeah, I actually am. Every game I'm earning over 12k, and one of them, the 38th parallel, I got 60k from that game.
Since 38th parallel, we've done 4 matches. 9k, 7k, 85k, 50k. So in the 2 matches we won, I made just over 135k.
The first game
Plus
I
2
took out
games
my
against
chieftain,
Japan.
marksman, and warrior. Obviously, the warrior is the one I died in. I ended up getting 60,000. The second game,
everything
12.
but the
The second one, I earned 45,000, but I spawned so many times that I ended up having a repair cost of 32,000. The next one I earned 48,000 again, 30,000 worth of repairs. The next one I got 22,000. This time only 8,000, just a single warrior, which is this game.
Then again,
so I'm making
the
money.
match that I got 85k and I did get like 11 kills, 12 kills. Then.
I lost count. When you got that many kills, I wasn't paying attention. You probably could have come down in a nuke, came out in a nuke, come.
No, I died.
Oh, you died in the nuke?
No.
Or you just died?
No, you die, you have to respawn, you lose a decent bit of spawn points. Usually late in the game you can't make back.
Yeah, because you spawned too many times, yeah. But then again, you would never have been able to get enough spawn points if you're dead, so you have to spawn in. Can't just be like, yeah, nah, I'm not gonna spawn. Was that a lab that I just watched pass me? What is that? Is that an ADATS or a lav?
5 matches.
What the fuck? I think it was the ADATS. Had to have been the ADATS. I just had it like a... Yeah, that had to be an ADATS. There's no way it wasn't. Because it wasn't a Stormer. It definitely wasn't the ZA. Okay then. I don't know what it was, but I do know that I don't know, so then this is good, I guess. But yeah, as I said, we don't really have a medium tank. There's the Vickers battle tank, but that's more of a cruiser tank, as I said. Than it is a proper MBT. It's like if you took the concept of a medium tank and mixed it with a cruiser tank and stuffed all the ammunition right next to the fucking driver like an idiot, like Britain always seems to do, because that just seems like a safe place to put it. That way any round that comes through the front end of that vehicle is immediately hitting the ammunition and killing everybody inside. What a merciful way to kill your crew. So, yeah.
I've nearly died in every match I've done with the BVM. But then again, that's because I sort of get a kill or two, then fling myself out in front of an enemy so I can get in a helicopter or a plane.
Yeah, that's true. The BVM.
I love my Russian cast. Yeah, it's the 8 BVM.
Ah, right. Sorry, I was confused.
It's my most played vehicle on my stat card by quite a margin.
No, I was just confused because you were talking about like American vehicles before, then you mentioned the BVM. I was like, what the fuck? I figured you were talking about Russia, but like I had to double check. You threw me off there for a sec.
Oh, wait, what do you have for Italy in terms of tanks?
Italy, like nothing, like 1.3, 2.0 at best.
We're doing loot to Italy after this then.
Why? That shit is
Italian
so terrible.
hash lorry.
You want to do your hash launching fucking piece of shit
Yeah, you need
Lancer.
to get yours as well because it's so much fun.
I'm gonna.
The video next corner.
Where are we going for this map? I'm not well versed on this map on top tier.
Don't know. It's an up tier. That thing's a 9-3.
Well, then I'm gonna come out the warrior because 80
Actually,
gems
so
are the
know.
only thing that I have that could definitely pen anything at this battle rating. Yeah, I was gonna say it can only be a 9, considering.
Gen 2 thermals, a 50 cal and good mobility.
Oh, what IPM one?
No, Type 16.
Type 16? Oh.
Yeah, it's way too low in BR for what it is.
I mean, for real. But then again...
Like, you know the German red Kampfwagen thing?
Yeah.
That's a higher BR and it is much worse.
Yeah.
Worse rounds, much bigger silhouette, no 50 cal, no thermals. And this almost an entire BR higher.
As I've said multiple times, Gaijin has zero consistency with everything they do. And I guess it's fair to say that it's because Gaijin's team or the actual people that are producing, they always have different opinions, and you know, I'm sure they're trying to be as fair as they can be with in-house stuff. But the problem is that might not necessarily agree with the community and the realistic idea. But then also they would listen to the community. But that also can sometimes be not necessarily realistic.
Oh, my hard left.
Roger, I see it.
Type 16 didn't even see it.
Yeah, but I do. Type 16 sees it now. No, I scouted it. Also, luckily the thing completely missed him. Killed it real quick. Duck behind. Cover. Oh god, I'm silhouetting. Please pull down. Fucking terrible British transmission almost got me killed. Thankfully, I somehow managed to swat the bullet of the ATGM with my turret, but yeah, there's something right next to me. This shitty team doesn't seem to notice it. It's like right here. Shutcow Delette seems to hear it. There it is. Got it.
Cannon breach.
Good kill him.
Okay, build.
Yeah. He knew it was fucked.
I mean, I wouldn't have put a follow-up missile into him because he peaked and he disappeared too quick.
But with no gun and cannon breach, and probably no parts, he was probably just gonna like, fuck it.
It's
No
pretty.
way. Oh. Oh, lovely, an M113A1 tow. Good to see that. Glad that's here.
That's like me, but worse.
Yeah. But also an event vehicle.
No, M13's not a bit not very.
Oh. Did they add it into... Oh, okay. Interesting.
I can't fire anymore when my main thing's been destroyed, can I?
No, I don't think you can.
There are 3 tanks in front of me.
I'm on my way. I'm in the marksman, but I'll do what I can.
I'm also currently reloading.
I'm just going to turn off my search radar or my radar because it's just going to give me away. Additionally, there's also no new planes up, so... Oh, you're already dead.
You're kidding. See the launcher I have on the roof?
Right. What?
I was reloading.
Yeah.
The launcher I have on the roof, the big thing that sticks out in my eyes.
Yeah, the M901. Yeah, I know
was
what the fuck it is.
reloading.
I have it.
So there's no ATGMs in it.
Yes.
He shoots it.
It
And
explodes.
wrecks me.
Yep, I know. I've had that happen to me too. And I mean, like,
This
I
thing makes
literally
so much
just
sense
started reloading. But it's because it's in the reloading phase, it acts like there is ammunition in there, even if it's not, even if you only just started, because it can't be, like, think about it. Right? They're putting a missile inside of it. If somebody shoots it, obviously it's going to explode. The problem is that if you're reloading, right, there's a multiple step process that comes with the reloading. Obviously it pulls back, they open up the ammo compartment, they grab the ammo, they lift it up towards the back end of the tank, and they slam it right in. They're slamming it right in. It doesn't come towards the final parts of the goddamn reload cycle. However, in Gaijin's mind, it's happening at the start. For some vehicles, it just doesn't have an animation, and therefore it doesn't matter whether it's at the start or the end of the cycle, it just always is there. They have a plane up now. It looks like a...
R2002.
No. Looks like a G91.
No, it's an R2002.
The one that I can see, that has just spawned in and is still 8 kilometers away, or 6 kilometers away, looks like a G91.
No, I see an R2002.
Okay. Maybe your definition of rendering might be higher than mine, because mine it just looks like a fuselage and wings. I can't see any difference other than that. trigger thinking into
The
like
thing you're looking at just maneuver.
yeah, it's currently flying
Yeah,
straight
it's
at me.
like this, isn't it?
Yeah,
Well, I can't lock it because
yeah,
this
I can see it now.
locking stuff is horrible. I had it for a second.
Yeah, your tracking capabilities are quite terrible on that thing. I lost it. There you go. Good kill. Another plane. Friendly. I'll be your search radar. You be my better gun.
Yeah, it's a bit late for that.
Are you dead? Alright, I gotta get out of here then. This spawn is no longer safe for me. How much is obvious by the fact that they've just captured Bravo.
And A.
And A. Yeah.
Oh, they're still by A.
Well, they're still by A,
even though we're
but
capping it.
yeah. Our plane doesn't seem very useful. Now he's fucking dead, so. PUS. Jet player, they're useless. Useless twat. I'm sorry, that's rude. I shouldn't say that, but at the same time. I'm used to the adult content. I don't know whether YouTube will allow me to say certain things. YouTube's a lot more strict than Twitch is, and that's why I'm like half on Twitch. Because if I say certain things, it'll get me demonetized, right? And I can't have it. I can't have the money. I have to be PC
Your
or... Really?
Your F6F video that you linked into thing.
Yeah.
It's kids.
It's
But
what?
when you put it into the mini player thing, when you swipe down from it, it says you can't be played because it's for kids. Apparently, you flying and bombing stuff is classed as a kids video.
It can't be played because it is for kids?
Well, no, when you can still watch it, but you can't put it in the mini thing. You know when you swipe down
Yeah.
and you want to look at other videos, it doesn't do that because it's for kids.
Wow.
See, you bombing people. I'm pretty sure I heard you swearing in it as well.
Yeah, I definitely
It's-
saw.
For kids.
On Snapchat? Like on Snapchat's filter or on...
No, on
YouTube.
YouTube.
Wow. Approved for kids. Or it's probably referring to teens. It's probably rated for teens, but... It's interesting that it's defined as kids. Don't stick around for too long, man. I know I don't necessarily have to tell you that, but... You know, sitting there and hovering.
I'm too used to flying helis with ATGMs and ballistic
Yeah.
computers and too used to flying Heinz where I can sit 3 kilometers away and launch rockets from there instead of them coming close.
Yeah.
That's
That's
why I
what I was
flying the
worried about.
H1G because it has no power.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it has plenty of power, but it just doesn't really present that power well. Not really. It's got lots of
Clearly
power,
just
but
get shot at by an ATGM.
it needs like a twin rotor to really deliver that power. But then it would be too heavy in
They're
the
setting
power.
up in front of you with ATGMs, by the
I
way.
know. I'm going there intentionally. I need to put my radar down.
No idea what it was. It was a BMP, he didn't shoot at me, it was a machine gun or anything.
Why is my
I
thing
might
not
go
going
Bravo.
down? There it goes. Oh, it's probably on Bravo, I'd imagine. Stick low. There you go.
I know.
Scraping the deck.
I fly helis many times a day.
I know. I was just saying that because you're getting shot at. And I can probably see it a lot better than you can.
This is a lot more fun than having to fly top tier helis where I can't do anything when there's a SAM up because SAMs are completely broken against helis.
Well, helicopters are just big flying bricks. It's very difficult for helicopters, or at least the
Because,
current
like,
ones.
Camos and things are overpowered.
But
When
that being
there's a SAM
said,
up, they can't do anything.
I found that ZBD, or correction, the ZBD found me. However, I have no idea where he is. I think he's over by a wall. He's on the the right-hand side of the shrine from our spawn point, so you're gonna have to work that out in your head where that is compared to you. And he's just chilling. It's a BM. It's a BM.
Oh, fucking T-55 with ATGM just killed me. I was
Maybe
about to
one.
get a third kill.
76. Good job. You know your autocannon can kill BMPs, right? Even though
I
it's
don't
only a
have the can
12.7.
from many guns.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The miniguns can pierce it.
No, you can't.
They don't have an AP belt?
You can't change the belts on them. So,
Yeah, then it's
that's
got
only
a stock
7.62.
AP HE round. And even if it's a 7.62, I can guarantee it'll go through a BMP's roof armor.
Well, no, you can't get on top of them.
And you can't get on top of a BMP? Bro, those guns cannot look all the way vertical. They have too tiny of a turret. Not enough space.
No, it's either friendlies or Gaijin's definition of you hit something that wasn't actually there.
Oh. Oh, I see.
Because in a heli and stuff, walls and fences don't render in.
Well, they do, just at like really short distance, yeah.
No, not at all. Even if you're right next to them, they don't.
Really? Because before, in the previous patches, they were working. I could always see them.
No, they haven't for quite a long time. Even if at all.
Oh. Like when I was flying my scout, I used to have that problem where if I was far away, I couldn't see them, but when I got up closer, I could see them. But if just saying that, not at all.
7.62 is 10 mils of pen. Could use the 40 mil with 76, but if I want to chuck 40 mil, I'll chuck 40 mil. 40 mils here. 2 of them. So what is your highest thing for pasta? Those are tanks.
Hello?
Oh.
Sorry, I just had to go pee real quick, so I didn't hear half of what you said.
What's your highest, what's your highest thing for Italian tanks?
My highest, what, tanks?
Yeah, because the Lancia 3 is fucking fun.
Is it fast? Because what I
No.
remember, yeah, I was gonna say, from what I remember, it's fucking slow as shit. I am 2 tanks away from the Lancia. Correction, 1 tank.
Right.
4732 L40, and the Lancia is just behind, or just above. Oh look, they've added a new L6A1. I mean, I already knew that, but L640, sorry. That's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Oh. Yeah, so the most I have is 2.0, which is the M1343 or 40.
Could do 2 then just
Series
do.
3?
Oh, it's not that much RP, it's like 2000, so 2000.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm just gonna finish getting the AS42. Probably grab that, drive around like a absolute turd ball, and shoot everybody with an AP round. Because you know, 20 mils. I do have the
It's
AB.
completely balanced.
Yeah, I do have the AB41. Again, completely balanced with a 20 mil that shoots through about 38 millimeters of armor, which is pretty much everybody's ammo. So again, completely
48,
balanced.
not 38. Even worse.
48, yeah. No, it's 38. On this particular model, it's 38. The AB41 has 38 mils of pen. Mine's 20 mil.
You're looking at the wrong shell.
Nope, I'm looking at the AP belt.
There's 2 AP belts.
Oh, you mean the HVAP, right. That's different
Yeah,
to
you use the
AP.
HVAP.
APIT, and then there's the HVAP, which is the...
Yeah, you use HVAP,
48.
not APIT.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the APIT
It
is
doesn't
more
really
than
matter
a...
that it's...
Yeah.
Yeah, it doesn't really matter that it's HVAP because it's just like most Texas crew. That this tier only have 1 or 3 crew members, like 1 to 3 crew.
Hmm.
Unless you're unfortunate enough to find the big Sherman or the 105.
Okay, I'm ready to go. Whatever you are. We're doing 1.0 to 1.7. Looks like, because I have.
17.
I can put in a tour if you want.
No, keep it as low for this thing. 3. I'll run my AB41.
I might even end this video here, this YouTube, and just start streaming on Twitch now. I don't know. So, because we only have one viewer at the moment, and it's really at the end of the stream. So I think I will do it. It's a really long stream now, considering it's nearly, what, 2 hours long or something like that. So I think I'll end the video here, and we'll go onto Twitch. So thank you everybody for watching. I appreciate every single one of you. You guys are awesome. Make sure to share and like if you guys like the video, and I'll see you on the next stream. Bye bye.